Hey, thanks for taking the time to, well, you haven't got any choice, actually. I'm just talking at you, if you like. But I'm here also to present to you why I think it's not a bad idea and not that expensive as well if you become a member. And this is how you can do it, and this is what you can gain. So if we look here at the Talking Tennis sort of homepage, if you like, on YouTube, we can see this little button here which says join. It is also pinned in the live chat as well, and you can also, I think, see it just below most of our videos, certainly the live ones and so on. Now, why is it a good idea to join and become a member? Well, in the live chat, you can add little funny things, you can add emojis and all sorts of things, but possibly more importantly, you can get to access some live videos, such as this one here, where we look back on the last sort of few moments from the Billie Jean King Cup. So there are little bonuses such as this one, but there are many, many more. And in fact, if we have a quick look at all of the members only stuff, I repeat, you will see very, very quickly some of the top stuff that we've had for members only over the last 12 months since the channel began. Remember, these videos are for members only. You can become a member from as little as about $2 a month, €2 a month, £2 a month, something like that. There are various different things. Oh, and by the way, you'll also be supporting the channel. So it's a win-win-win-win scenario. Let me just show you some of the members only stuff. For example, we've got an exclusive little clip there talking to Laura Siegmund, Laura Tsurenko, her encore interview, some doubles footage there from Monastir, the Germany press conference pre-tournament Billie Jean King Cup, Claire Burrell talking as well to the media in her press conference in Monastir, Storm Hunter and Alicia Parks interview, Rebecca Masarova, her press conference, Coco Gauff exclusive for members only, albeit it was in Madrid. But these are just some of the things, some of the interviews and etc. Like Lestien here, a chat with him, Emma Navarro, and so on and so forth. So many little bonus videos available for just €2 a month. So what are you waiting for? Become a member. Or don't. It's okay. You've been to the French Open final. Your breakthrough, at least standout result at the beginning of your career, was on grass against Venus. You've been very solid on the hard courts. Is there a slam in particular that you go, I think that's, if I'm going to get one, the first one might come here, there, or where?
Well, I don't know. I mean, everyone, I'm like, I think this is the first one. So I don't know. I mean, obviously now going to the French, I do have a lot of confidence on the surface. But I'm not really thinking about that. I feel like, in the past I was, and it gave me some like defeats that I feel like I shouldn't have lost, maybe more so my head. So going in now, I mean, I feel like, everyone could be the one, but I think I have to just take it a match at a time and just feel it out and enjoy it. I think when you focus too much on the destination, you don't enjoy the journey there. So now I want to focus more on the journey, and if the destination gets there, that's great.
There are with the mental side of tennis, from my perspective as a fan, if you like, the two things that strike me in tennis compared to lots of other sports that I think make it a big mental challenge is, first of all, it's an individual sport, but secondly, so there's nowhere to hide. Like in football, in a
Yeah.
team sport, you can just give the ball to another, teammate, and you cannot call for it if you like. But there's nowhere to hide. The other thing as well in tennis is again in something like football, you can be really nervous, but you can get a bit lucky. And of course, that can be the case in tennis. But basically, your body could be shaking when you're about to take a penalty, okay? And you can still score because you can just put your foot through it, right? You just hit it as hard as you can. And actually, probably you will still score because of the odds on that.
Yeah.
But there's that in a sport such as darts, snooker, tennis, where you need to be pretty calm and you need to have a pretty steady hand. There's just nowhere to hide. Is there anything I'm missing, or am I underplaying something, or even overplaying?
No. I think you're 100% correct. I think the real tough thing about these sports and tennis in particular, because of how physical it is as well, is the relentlessness of point after point. And if you're nervous, you have to fight through those nerves sometimes for an hour. And they might disappear for a while, but then suddenly, you're 5-all and it's tight again, and you're feeling very tight, and you have to manage it over and over again. And I think the best players in the world just use their tools and remember to use their tools in big moments. Because, once you get to pro level, it's not like any player doesn't kind of know what they have to do, but it's in the heat of that moment that they either don't remember because the brain is frying a little bit, or they don't have the courage to use them.
Yeah.
So, for us sitting there, I remember when Roger Federer had 2 match points against Novak at Wimbledon serving.
Yeah.
You're thinking serve and volley both.
Okay.
Yeah, probably Novak's not going to make a great return on both.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know whether what Roger was thinking, or maybe knew something more than that I did, but that was my thinking. But he didn't, and they slipped through his hands. Now, to do that though in that moment takes a huge amount of courage.
Yeah.
And first to make the decision, and then secondly to follow through the decision like that. But then you've always got, and this is what's so tough for players, the other thing is, match point, make the person play. Don't serve and give them a quick volley or whatever. And that's another school of thought. But I think deep down, players get to a place where they have an instinct. And I think, I say this over and over again, the best players in the world are the most relaxed and the bravest. Because in those moments, when their instinct is telling them something, they are brave enough to follow it. And which is why, and again, it doesn't guarantee you're going to win, but I do think it starts to push the odds more in your favor. I'll just say one other thing is,
yeah,
I don't know if anybody's ever been go-karting or any kind of motor racing or watches motor racing,
mm-hmm.
but when a driver gets in the groove, they lap like within 0.1 of a second every lap, like in this unbelievable groove.
Mm-hmm.
But if they lose that groove, when they're in that groove, it seems so easy. Just do it. It's like no hassle. But if they lose that groove, if they go a little too fast, then they slide out of a corner, they lose time. If they go a little too slow, then that's not effective. And the margins are so small to stay on that groove. And for players as well, when you go into something like the French Open or any tournament, but especially the big ones, you hope that you can get through that first match and find a groove. And if you get in that groove, then that gives you your best chances of winning, because then most stuff is happening automatically, which is the most effective. Everybody has a problem when they start to think on the court, and automatic is fastest and easiest because you know how to do things. And it's not like you don't register. I say when you're playing very well, you are aware of everything, but nothing distracts you.
Ready? Play.
Good afternoon. It would be afternoon. I'm just double checking for my times of the day. Good afternoon and welcome to what is the first of a truly outstanding double bill that we have here. Also here, what we have in Turin in terms of the players and the quality we got for the semi-finals of the ATP. The ATP finals. I was trying to think of there's a middle name in between, but there is not. It is the ATP Tour finals, and we have two titans of the game. We could probably say, at least a modern game, between Daniil Medvedev, the Russian who is coming into this tie with a 6-2 record against the home favorite, the young gun, in Jannik Sinner. Now, it's almost as if we've all put forward our sort of our lists to Father Christmas or Santa Claus or St. Nick, however you want to call him, and said, right, what do we want on a semi-final day in these finals? And we pretty much have got our list back. We've got, like we said, we've got Medvedev versus Sinner here in the afternoon session in Turin, which of course is 2:30 Central European time, 1:30. We're just gone a little bit past 1:30 UK time, and then of course later on this evening we have the rematch that everyone has wanted to see as much as humanly possible. The generational battle between Carlos Alcaraz and Novak Djokovic. Now, it looks as though the players are about to start. Daniil Medvedev did win the toss and elected to receive. Quite usual for Daniil to do this in electing to receive. You have me at the moment, and then we'll hopefully also have Anastasia popping along as well a bit later on for this match. Now, Jannik's just getting himself into position. As is at the moment. It's already 15 love up. He's already 15 love up. Excellent first serve that was by Sinner. And as we're going into a second serve, as you can see with the head-to-head in front of you at the moment, as Sinner goes down the cross court, no luck as it just goes slightly wide. The head-to-head is currently 6-2 in Medvedev's favour. However, those two wins that Sinner has obtained have come in the last 2 or 3 months. So he managed to get his first victory against Medvedev in Beijing. Was able to get his first victory against Beijing on the final there. Quite a tight straight sets victory for Sinner there. And then of course he was able to beat Medvedev in the final in Vienna not only 3 weeks ago. So as it currently stands, yes, Medvedev has got the edge on the head-to-head, but the more modern form is certainly with the Italian. It's 15-0 at the moment, and Sinner's just trying to work out his serving patterns. I'm just having some issues when it comes to my internet on my watching device. Trying to reset that. That's better. Forehand by Sinner, forehand by Medvedev, cross court, forehand by Sinner, backhand by Medvedev, really stretching all elements of the court at the moment. Oh, and then Sinner hits the ball slightly long. I think at the moment Medvedev's trying his best to try and get an early break or an early issue out of the Sinner serve, as we just get a good shot of Sinner's coach in Darren Cahill. Now, please, as you probably would have seen, do tell us, who do you think is going to win? Do you think it's going to be Sinner? Do you think it's going to be Medvedev? And maybe in the chat as well, tell us, how many sets do you think it's going to be? I'm going to slightly go with Sinner on this one. I think it'll be Sinner in 3, and I think we're probably going to be in for a bit of an epic. I really hope so, at least. But of course, we're going to end up having to see how that sort of plays out, especially at the moment with Medvedev really putting the pressure on earlier on, as it's currently 15-30 to Medvedev on the Sinner serve, and Medvedev is having a look at a second serve here to possibly try and get some break points. Goes down the tee there with Sinner, absolutely pasted the line, literally painted it right in the middle with that one there to make it 30 all. Like I said, do put that in the chat. Also, put any questions that you may have about this match, anything at all. More than happy to give it a go and an answer, as it'd be great to see as many of you sort of talking and communicating as much as possible. So like we said, currently sitting at 30 all. Sinner goes out wide. Medvedev is able to get about just about to it, and then they're back behind by Jannik. They're back behind, able to when Medvedev hit the return. So Jannik managed to hit the ball well out wide. Medvedev being dragged over there, goes and hits the return, and then Medvedev looking to cover the other side of the court runs back, and Jannik goes and hits a winner behind Daniil as he's running in the opposite direction. So Sinner just now looking just to hopefully get to 1-love for his team and his sake. And of course, one of the big elements of this match is going to be Daniil Medvedev versus close to 15,000 Italian fans camped into the stadium here in Turin. So we've got a good backhand exchange taking place at the moment between both players. Change of direction from Sinner. Medvedev tries to go for a cross-court winner, fails on that attempt, and it is 1-love to Jannik Sinner. So a really good start there by the Italian. Just a little bit of nerves, as you could probably expect. He's never got this far in this competition. And of course, with the fact this is indoors, is something I kind of painted on X, which is this is almost like the Sinner Medvedev, the Sinner Medvedev trilogy of indoor hardcourt tennis. We started the trilogy this year with the Rotterdam final, which was won by Medvedev in 3 sets. That then flipped and changed in Vienna a few weeks ago. That was Sinner taking the second, and almost, I'm not a boxer, but I know that it turns like Rocky versus this, or other boxer versus the other, like an actual proper boxer, not a made up one. This is like the third fight, the one that's going to decide it all between these two players, decide who's going to beat each other the most on the indoor hard courts in 2023. As good return there by Sinner, and they're into a backhand exchange taking place at the moment. Sinner's coming a little bit forward. He's really pressing the net, but Medvedev with a brilliant forehand passing shot winner just to make it 15-love. Good start there by the 6'6" Russian in this instance. Yeah, I mean, Sinner here looking to be aggressive, which is always a good play to put, a good play to use. Backhand by Sinner, backhand by Medvedev. Tries to go down the line, no luck. Hits it long at the baseline. A little bit of a mistake there from Medvedev. Now, a lot of the questions are going to, of course, be around the form of Medvedev coming into this one, because although these courts suit Daniil very well, very fast indoor hard courts, the hard court specialist himself will absolutely love these conditions. As we've got another backhand exchange taking place. Sinner really being aggressive here, really being on the front foot. Backhand by Daniil, backhand by Sinner into the net though. Medvedev though just was too consistent in that point for Jannik to be able to deal with. So like I was saying, the form of Daniil's a little bit into question just because of that loss to Alcaraz yesterday, and in terms of that was a match that he didn't need to win. Alcaraz has always been a very tricky opponent to him, but Medvedev did beat Alcaraz at the US Open, and you never really want to be going into the semi-finals with a loss this week. You want to carry that form and momentum into every match you play. So getting a good backhand exchange. Forehand by Sinner, forehand by Medvedev, forehand by Sinner, forehand by Medvedev. Tries to go cross court, no luck. Hits it into the tram lines, and it is 30 all. 30 all at the moment. So like I said, so Sinner at this moment really trying to be on the front foot here, really isn't allowing Medvedev too much time to be the aggressor, which is always a good play to play against Medvedev. You never want him to really be on top of you. As it's just going cross court, forehand by Sinner, forehand by Medvedev, backhand by Sinner, backhand by Medvedev, forehand by Sinner. Medvedev really in control of the point here in terms of the aggression. Backhand by Medvedev, backhand by Sinner. Oh, it's just a wild backhand, unfortunately. No control on that one. And Medvedev is 40-30 into the lead. As we're just getting a bit of a shot of Johan Sinner, who is Jannik's father. I'm surprised. I would have thought Jannik's father would have had ginger hair, but he does not. So Medvedev goes down the tee, forehand by Sinner, forehand by Medvedev, backhand by Sinner into the net. It was an attempted aggressive backhand across court. Unfortunately, they didn't have a height needed for that ball. And as such, we are now sitting at 1 game all. So both players have been tested on their service games. Both players gave up points on their service game, but both players have come through them with a good, strong degree of intent on that bit here. So, like I said, please do put a comment. Please do comment in the chat how you feel the match may go, any questions you may have. Because great to sort of communicate with you all. So Sinner goes cross court, forehand by Medvedev, forehand by Sinner, but the forehand back by Medvedev on the previous return was just long. The chair umpire is just indicating it with his arm movements to Medvedev on that one. So it does mean that we're 15 love at the moment, 15 of Sinner. Sinner, of course, would like to go back to his chair, being one up in the lead. It does being 2-1 up. A bit of a failed attempt to ball out wide there, but we're going to be going to a second serve. Goes, of course, down the line, backhand by Medvedev, backhand by Sinner, forehand by Medvedev, and it's long. A bit of a mistake there, an unforced error. A bit of an unforced error there by Daniil. Good to see you in the chat, Sport and Politics. Hi, James. Who is your favourite today? I must admit, I would like Sinner to win just because he's at home and this could really, be a big catalyst to potential big run. We all want to see Jannik do well because we can certainly see the talent that he has as Medvedev hits the net on the attempted cross-court backhand shot. I'd certainly want Sinner to win. I mean, we know how much Daniil was able to use his win in at the ATP finals in 2020 to then as a springboard almost for his runs in Australia and then subsequently in the US Open and going for the favourite there. It is who I would like to win, but I would also think he is going to win as well, as he is 40 love up at the moment, just looking to cruise through his service game here, which is always all important with Medvedev really putting on the aggression there, really being quite aggressive, keeping Sinner on the back foot, and is able just to hit a forehand cross court winner. Pretty excellently put. As my screen is just freezing a bit. Okay, we're back on that one. Back on that one there. So Sinner goes up the line, just slightly long on that one there. Sinner goes up the line, backhand by Medvedev, forehand by Sinner, backhand by Medvedev, forehand by Sinner, backhand by Medvedev again, backhand by Sinner, but he is unable to get anything onto that, so it is now 40-30. So it was 40 love, it's now 40-30. Ria Brandenburg, I'm cheering for Daniil. It's good to see you. We've got Daniil supporting the chat. Will the crowd play a role, do you think? So generally, you would dictate that, we look at the matches that Sinner has been involved with this week. All of them, there has been huge crowd support for Sinner, and that has really helped lift him in a lot of really bad situations. We could certainly think about the Rune match, where he nearly looked like he did his back in, but he was able to use the crowd to help him get through that match and to get the victory. As Medvedev's really being on the top here. Sinner needs to try and quench this a bit. Forehand by Sinner, backhand by Medvedev, backhand by Sinner, forehand by Medvedev, backhand by Sinner, backhand by Medvedev, backhand by Sinner up the line, but it is long. Daniil is really putting on the pressure here. This was a 40-love scoreline, but it is now juice. So do I think it'll be a correct factor? We know Daniil likes to play up to the crowd. And we know he can use a crowd that's against him, a bit Djokovic-esque. He can use a crowd that's against him to his advantage. So I think it will help lift Sinner's game, but I don't think it'll be enough to reduce the level shown by Daniil. I think it will actually help Daniil get a little bit better. And I'm expecting a little bit of a, supposedly sort of shithousery almost at points during this match, especially if it gets quite tight and the crowd really start getting onto him. But we are seeing a second serve at the moment. Up the tee, backhand by Medvedev, forehand by Sinner, forehand by Medvedev, forehand by Sinner, forehand by Medvedev, backhand cross-court by Sinner, but it hits the net. So it is advantage Medvedev. It is advantage Medvedev on the Sinner serve. What looked like it should have been a quite straightforward hold here for Jannik has now turned slightly complicated. Certainly turned slightly complicated. So the crowd are just looking to get behind Jannik as much as possible here. He really needs to get a good first serve in if he wishes to halt this. Goes cross court, backhand by Medvedev, backhand by Sinner, cross court, brilliant backhand cross court. We can see a lot in the crowd are wearing orange. This isn't a Max Verstappen celebration party. This is for Jannik Sinner. They are really happy with that sort of ball. Just got a shot popping up saying points won under 5 shots. Sinner is winning the battle when the points stay under 5. He's won 8 of the last 9. Brilliant serve up the tee there by Sinner. Just what he needs. Up the tee. Daniil thinks he's heading one way. It's actually heading the other. Just getting a bit of a replay as Daniil requested it, and just to show it was perfectly on the line. So that should mean that Medvedev will be down to 2 challenges. So here, advantage. Goes cross court is long though, so second serve. Second serve at the moment. Down in the middle, backhand by Medvedev, forehand by Sinner, backhand by Medvedev, forehand by Sinner cross court. The cross court exchange taking place at the moment. Medvedev, though, is taking control and does hit a brilliant down the line forehand winner to take it to juice. It will end up probably being one of those sort of key battles this contest that those battles that you've got one player in Sinner who will need to try and keep the points as short as possible. Yeah, like I said, preferably under 5 shots, whereas Daniil will be wanting to extend them as much as possible so we can really eke out the mistakes and really play his game against Jannik. Brilliant one cross court. A drop shot by Jannik. A brilliant drop shot by Jannik. He sends Medvedev all the way to the far side of the court. Medvedev hits the return back, and Jannik just drop shots it over the net, with Medvedev being all the way over in Monte Carlo, given how far away he was from that drop shot. So Sinner here, but good if he could get a first serve. He's struggling on his second at the moment. Goes down in the middle. For backhand by Medvedev, forehand by Sinner, forehand by Medvedev, and it's long. He gets the mistake, and he gets to keep his serve. 2-1. It is 2-1 at the moment. And as you can see, if you haven't already, please do make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, and also set your notifications so you know when we're posting stuff. That would be excellent. That would be excellent. Just looks like Jannik is asking just for something to come from the trainer, as we just get a bit of a montage of The players, so like we said, so this is the first of a brilliant doubleheader, absolutely fantastic doubleheader. You know, usually when it comes to the end of the season, all the players are a bit meh. You know, the top players are quite tired, but nothing like that has been shown when it comes to the types of players we've got for today. All four of the top 4 players are top 5 players in the world. All of the top 4 in the world actually are playing off against each other. You know, bringing the absolute highest level of tennis excellence to the streets or the big indoor arena of Turin. So like we said, we've got Sinner versus Medvedev at the moment in his afternoon session, and then we've got the absolutely mouth-watering clash of Alcaraz versus Djokovic later on. Alcaraz versus Djokovic. That is going to promise to be a very good one. And if you haven't already, please do follow me. My handle is @TennisRanter on X or /Twitter / whatever you want to sort of call it. So all the players are going back out to the court, as we can see the court color. And that's actually is actually something that's worth noting about. Andy Murray has. It's been announced today that Andy Murray has, withdrawn from the GB David Davis Cup squad because of a minor shoulder injury picked up in training. So Andy Murray will not be in Malaga, which is a real shame because a lot of us were kind of hoping or kind of expecting that maybe Leon would have played him, Leon Smith, the GB captain, would have played him in the number 1 players match against Novak Djokovic on Thursday. You know, a match I think we all want to see again at least one more time, as Medvedev is able just about win with a smash as he ends up hitting it onto the net. It just feebles back over. But like I say, so yeah, we're not going to be able to see that tie. It almost feels fated that we're never going to see that tie again. You know, we've had the shoulder issue today. In fact, they were meant to meet back in Madrid in 2022, but Murray got a stomach bug. He ate some dodgy paella the night before, obviously. So I don't know. We really hope that we'll end up getting that clash maybe once more before either player ends up retiring. But yeah, it's a shame really on that one. But it does mean there's a few more headaches now for Leon. He's got a squad now at the moment with Cameron Norrie, who's come back from injury. Jack Draper, who is in a brilliant vein of form, just come off the back of a challenger title and then a final at the ATP 250 in Sofia. And then he's got the absolute kings of the doubles courts in Neil Skupski and Joe Salisbury to make it the doubles pairings. But he needs a third player. Will it be? It looks as though that potentially maybe Leon Brody. But it could also be going on some form and looking at the likes of Billy Harris and Arthur Frey, who have been sort of tearing up the challenger circuit. I say tearing up, or at least doing bits on the challenger circuit over the last couple of months. Certainly on the indoor hard as well. So there's plenty of options available to Leon for that 5th player. As it's 40-love to Medvedev, it's been very quick this time, and Sinner hits a brilliant backhand down the line, just skims the line on the way to on the way there. Brilliant backhand down the line. But it is still 40-15 to Daniil. Just hits a serve and it goes and hits and it bounces off the neck and wide. So it's a second serve here. Score back, forehand by Sinner, forehand by Medvedev, and it hits the net. So we're now at 40-30. Are we about to see what happened in the previous service game on Sinner's take place to Medvedev's? Somebody being the server being 40-love up and then getting pegged back to deuce. Medvedev in serving position. Goes cross court, just goes wide as it clips off the net. Second serve. Oh, double fault by Daniil. Double fault by Daniil. We are at deuce. We are juicing it. Just get a shot of the Medvedev box. They're all looking a little bit nervous. So Daniil goes cross court, forehand by Sinner, forehand by Medvedev, hits the net and goes long off the tram line. It is advantage Sinner. So another service game that looked fairly comfortable, which has now got a degree of jeopardy associated to it. Sinner just getting himself into position. Medvedev goes down the tee, forehand by Sinner, but it was just clipped the net, so we got a let cord. So it's just picking up some new balls, just choosing which ones he wants to go for. Usual thing, blowing in the hand, just a bit of a failed ball toss there by Daniil, maybe a little bit of nerves at play. Goes down the tee, forehand by Sinner, forehand by Medvedev into the net, and the first break of the match is locked in. The Karatas, the supporters of Jannik are up in the air celebrating. Well, look what we had there. Daniil Medvedev, 40 love up. You're probably going, this is, I had a dog bark there. You probably thought that this was an absolute done deal. But no, 5 points on the bounce for Daniil as we get a shot at some people. They've got some orange lights around some sort of hat. Oh, the chair umpire is just checking something out. Oh, just that's all sorted. I think there was a thing with a net, with a net sensor. So Sinner 3-1 up, already halfway home. If he can continue along here, just so. Yeah, I mean, this has changed everything. I didn't expect to break this early in the match. Sinner here with the with the early lead. And this is an interesting stat that's popped up as well. The same 4 players who were in the Wimbledon semi-final this year will also feature in the ATP Finals semi-final. It's the first time this has happened since 1989, so before I was even born, where it was Ivan Lendl, Boris Becker, Stefan Edberg, and John McEnroe. What a combination of players to be associated with. I mean, Wimbledon this year was a tournament that was that managed to actually hold its seeding for what seems to felt like the first time in a while. Usually, Wimbledon the seedings sort of absolutely fall apart. So just getting a shot at some lights. I think we've got some issues with some lighting at the top at the moment. I think it's just about getting sorted. I think Sinner's not happy with the direction of one of the lights. It's pointing in the wrong direction. I think it's pointing directly at him. Just getting the chair umpire over to have a look. Yeah, he really isn't happy about this. We'll just see if I can. Oh, look, I think they've changed. I think they've turned off the lights. I know they're not in pitch blackness. They just turned off the Pacific lights that were causing Sinner the problems. He's still not entirely best pleased with something. Still not entirely best pleased. But it's 15 to Medvedev at the moment. Oh, Sinner shanks it there, and he's looking at his team with absolute dismay. Comes to the net. It looks like all the world like it's going to be an easy Sinner put away, and he frames it. He absolutely frames it. Oh, he's gonna. Oh, nearly a good catch by the by the guy with the camera. But jeez. Love 30. Bit of jeopardy here now. Oh, it's the net. He's all over the shot at the moment, Jannik. Absolutely all over the shot. Down the tee. Backhand by Medvedev. Forehand by Sinner. Forehand by Medvedev. Forehand by Sinner. Forehand by Medvedev. This is all cross court. Off the net. But comes off. And it's wide. Oh, Medvedev misses an absolute sitter. What feels like a sitter. So Jannik goes, they were doing cross court. Jannik goes for a forehand down the line. It clips the net. It, of course, then takes the pace completely out of the ball, so it bounces very softly near the service box. Medvedev comes forward and then just wants to do a forehand cross court put away, and then puts it wide of the tram lines. Oh, there's a chance here to put Sinner under pressure, and Medvedev has not taken it. Sinner now looks solid, really good serve out wide, and Medvedev unable to do anything with it. 30 all. If you're a Medvedev fan, would be pretty annoyed at that one. He should have put that one away. He has let the Italian off the hook. He really has let the Italian off the hook there. Now, will Sinner just continue this momentous slide just to keep ahead here? does not want to be giving an inch to Daniil. Goes cross court. Daniil's able to get to it, but only able to hit it long of the baseline. 40-30. These points are whapping through at some pace. They are wrapping through at some pace. Medvedev just looks completely perplexed. So Sinner just looking at a great low angle shot here as it just clips off the net. Important here for Jannik, though, not to lose concentration. The job's not done yet. Down cross court, forehand by Medvedev, forehand cross court by Sinner, forehand cross court by Medvedev, and he just hits it past Sinner. Oh, we're at juice. God, these games are good at the moment. God, these games are incredibly good. So we're at juice at the moment. Both players using all the different things here to get some points, 1 under 5 shots. We can see that Rotterdam or Miami, it was 47% for... who's that for? I've got a foggiest. Sinner goes down the tee. Just clips the line. Literally smashes it. It was just on the line there. Medvedev's looking like he was one going to challenge, but I think he's cancelled it. Yeah, he's not challenging it. Probably a good thing. It did look like it was quite square on the line, to be honest. Except please do comment in chat how you feel that this match is going. Sinner with the ball. Goes cross court. Oh, just slightly long. Just slightly long. Daniil with his usual return position of basically going all the way, standing all the way down in Rome. Backhand there by Daniil. Backhand by Sinner. Forehand by Daniil. Forehand by Sinner. Really pushing each other from side to side. Try to go for the low drop. Goes cross court. Daniil unable to get anything properly to it. And it is 4-1 to Jannik. 4-1 to Jannik. Able to get himself out of that. Had a bit of a wobbly start, but able to really come back near the end. Proper good job there by Sinner to be able to keep ahead. 4-1 at the moment to Jannik. He is, as you could probably gather, sort of building off the energy of the crowd as much as humanly possible on this one. But now just a very good start from Jannik. What we've been seeing throughout the entirety of this tournament, when he was playing the likes of Djokovic, Rune, and who was the other one in this group? That was Tsitsipas. That was it. I mean, Tsitsipas was a bit of a dead squid anyway when it came into this contest. I mean, no offense to you, a Tsitsipas fan, but it was a travesty. The way he's been playing in this tournament, which is a real shame really, because he was playing all right. Because his indoor hardcourt season was fairly okay. I mean, he got to the semi-finals in Antwerp, lost to Arthur Fils, which isn't a bad loss really, because Arthur Fils is a real strong up and comer from the French line of things. And it looked as though the indoor hardcourts were going to be a little bit better for Tsitsipas this year, but then he was able to beat the players you were expecting to beat in Vienna, and then got beat quite handedly by Medvedev in the semi-final there, and then got to the quarters, or got to the semis as well in Paris, and then came up against an absolutely informed Grigor Dimitrov and was unable to get through that. But no, so it was very much a big surprise to see how low the performance rate was from Tsitsipas in the tournament this time around. But yeah, he had an injury, and that took him out of the situation. So Daniil is now going to serve. Daniil is going to serve. Just make sure I don't pull out my headphone. Looking to make sure that he can keep within touching distance of the Italian here. Daniil up in the air, goes down the tee, backhand by Sinner, just though long of the baseline. So that is love 15 to Medvedev. So just love 15 to Medvedev. Goes across court, backhand by Sinner. No luck on that one, though. So that's but that was the serve out wide was long, so it is a second serve. Backhand up the line by Sinner. Forehand by Medvedev. Cross court by Sinner, but it is long. It's a bit wild. Yeah, it was a bit wild on that one there from Sinner. So 30 love to Daniil. We'll see Daniil doing all he can to stretch Sinner across all elements of the court. That is a pretty good tactic to have. Goes down the tee. Sinner unable to get anything onto it, and it is now 40-love. Daniil looking to really get through the service game as quickly as possible, using his big serve to his advantage here. Daniil goes down the tee, just hits the net, so second serve. Goes cross court, backhand by Sinner, forehand by Daniil, backhand by Sinner, clips off the net. Still just in though. But that was a bad return there by Medvedev. A bad return there by Medvedev. So it is 40-15 at the moment. Goes cross court, forehand by Sinner, but it hits the net. So that is a second serve though. There's a second serve, sorry. Goes down the tee, backhand by Sinner, forehand by Daniil, forehand by Sinner, backhand by Daniil, backhand by Sinner, a bit of a slice on that, down the line by Medvedev, and Sinner unable to get to it. The disguise on that backhand, it was like, I'm just putting that away. I am just putting that away. Sally's saying, not very inspiring. I hope you don't mean my commentating. No, this match is it's had some good elements to it, I will say, Sally. It has had some good elements to it. So Sinner here looking to stay ahead, 4-2 at the moment. Goes down the line, sells the game. Thank you, Sally. Thanks, Sally. I was a bit worried though. That was going to be a little bit of a bit of a funny comment against me. But that was a brilliant serve down the line by Sinner on that one there. So Sinner goes down the tee, just though slightly long off the tee line. So that now means that we are. I don't get what this means. Sinner versus Medvedev, second serve points won, 60%. Beijing and Vienna, Rotterdam and Thingy 37. Backhand by Sinner, backhand by Medvedev, backhand by Sinner up the line, forehand by Medvedev into the net, and that is 30-love. 30-love to Jannik. That explains, Sally, why you're finding it a bit uninspiring for Medvedev. Yeah, it's not really up to his game at the moment, Daniil. And as we can see from what is above me, I believe just above me there, Astasia, welcome.
Morning. Well, morning here.
I'm guessing it's morning there. What time is it? Sort of stateside.
It's 9:16 where
9:16.
I'm at. Yeah.
Okay. So
how are you?
I'm doing pretty okay. We've got it's been a pretty good start from Jannik at the moment. Okay, maybe a little bit so and so from Medvedev, but it's certainly doing okay. You doing okay?
Listening to the match in the background and that break from 40-love up from Medvedev, that was quite something. I haven't watched it. I've just been listening in the background, so I don't know what his movements like or what's going on. So do you think he's just his levels just a little bit under for this?
I'd certainly say slightly under. I'd also say that Jannik is doing his absolute damnedest to stay on top of the point, which is which I think is being the key thing there, because one of the ways in which you could really subdued Medvedev, and although Medvedev is very good at being a defensive player, as long as you don't give him the ability for Medvedev to be the aggressor, you can get a lot of points off that. And it tends to be how Djokovic does quite well against Medvedev as well, because Djokovic stays as the aggressor, doesn't allow Medvedev to really get on top of the points. And that's playing into what Jannik is doing at the moment, as he's just going from side to side. I mean, they've been pushing around. I mean, Jannik's movement seems perfect. I mean, the unforced errors from both players also still very low as well, but just sort of key ones at points. But then I say that, and Sinner tries to do a slice backhand cross court, and it hits the net there.
I'm going to change my stream to. I'm going to change my stream to match yours. You're on Prime, yeah?
I am on Prime, yeah.
Okay, I'll switch to Prime as well, so I can just match you. Because Tennis TV is about a point behind you.
Ah. Yeah, I'm using my iPad to watch it, so I know that the usually the mobile versions are a little bit further ahead as well. Are you enjoying the dulcet tones of Nick Kyrgios on Tennis TV?
Oh, is that it? No.
No.
I've been saved from that because so there are two ways to get Tennis TV. Either you get the app, or you have it through a cable channel, whatever. And Nick Kyrgios is on the cable version. So if you have the app, you don't even hear him. So I actually haven't heard any of his commentary other than the clips I've seen on Twitter. And yeah, you know, good for him. He had to do something with his time.
No, we're going to be wondering what he's going to.
I see. Are you watching the? I see your jersey. Are you watching the lovely Vegas F1?
F1 weekend. I had a watch of the
Weekend of
qualifying
chaos.
This weekend this morning. I mean, it's a real shame for Carlos about the fact that he goes over a manhole cover. It kind of shoots up into his car.
Yeah,
and then a presto is the one who's been given the penalty.
That was. I still don't understand that, but then again, I'm new to F1, so I don't get it. But I don't understand why they should pay for their car and also get the penalty for something that wasn't their fault, but whatever. But yeah, so Sinner is really just, I mean, he's leading here 5-2. He seems in complete control of the match. It doesn't seem like his back has been an issue at all, right?
I'm not noticing any back issues. To be honest, it felt as though from basically the first couple of games after the Rune in the third set against Rune that his back had basically sorted itself out. I mean, it could have just been that he got a bit of a trapped nerve down there, and it was and that's probably what happened, and he was able to loosen it through usage. But you know, it just doesn't seem like his back seems to be any bit of a problem at the moment,
which is great.
Excellent. As Medvedev's just serving at the moment, and he just goes that wide, but it's slightly long. I mean, let me know if you want to need to pause, Astasio, as well.
Huh?
Let me know if you need me to pause as well if I'm still a little bit too further ahead.
Oh no! I've switched to Prime, so we match now.
We match. Excellent. So Medvedev 15 love up.
Yep.
Excellent. Well, certainly excellent for a Medvedev fan if he's 15 love up. Just got rid of his second.
I mean, he's going to have to do something drastic here.
I think he's made. Yeah, I mean, he's just hit a ball wide. That I mean.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, what could he do? I mean, some of the big points he's made, some of the mistakes. I mean, I must say that there was a point when it was love 30 to Medvedev on Sinner's serve where it was just a clear unforced error. He came to the net, he looked to all the world, he just needs to put it away, and he would have been love 40 up. But no, he ends up hitting an unforced error wide of the tram line. And there's those sort of pressure point moments that you need to be at your absolute best.
Yeah. It's funny, he made a comment yesterday because I think with the Tsitsipas thing and, I feel like there's just been a lot of conversation of, Medvedev was in the semifinals. So did he really play his best against Carlos? And, I think in press conference, Medvedev said, it's not good to lose. Like, to come off, to go into the semifinals off of a losing match, it's not good. And I wonder if for him, that might have actually been something sort of, it would have been better for him if he had come in, having won all 3 of his group stage matches, and would have come into the semifinals.
No, I tend to think that we saw with Sinner the fact that he was not prepared to although if he was able to throw the match, it would have meant that Djokovic would have gone home. He was not prepared to do that, and he wanted to keep that momentum sort of kicking through. I don't think that Medvedev's level would have been. I think if that match was still basically like a live rubber for Medvedev, like if he didn't win it, then he would have gone out. I think the result would have been somewhat the same. It just felt as though for that match that the real Carlos Alcaraz kind of showed up to the venue, and when the real Carlos Alcaraz. And when the real Carlos Alcaraz is there, then Medvedev's then the perfect player for Carlos to play because he can really tackle Medvedev whenever he needs to.
Yeah. So to that point, because I had never really understood, back when this head-to-head was 6-0, I just didn't get it. I thought, how is it possible that Sinner has never, and then he slowly started turning that around. Now it's at 6-2. I just have a feeling like that's it. Like he's turned it around and he just knows how to beat Medvedev now, like there's no going back.
No, it's, I think a lot of it, I think is down to Sinner. All the elements of his game seem to be now perfectly in place. He's also able to get a lot of free points, a lot more free points than he was able to, say, even 6 months ago, which helps a lot. You need the ability against Medvedev to be able to get those free points because he's not going to give it to you. And looking at when it comes to his serve or when it comes to his aggression, and it's just there would no way can a head to head that he probably didn't want like a Gasquet to Nadal or a Monfils to Djokovic style head to head.
Yeah, you don't want that.
Like you want to be able to show that you have a method to be able to at least get through your opponent. And also, this isn't like a Djokovic or this isn't like a Nadal where they're able to adapt their game, but their levels are much higher than what Medvedev's is. I mean, in terms of their absolute prime. And with their tennis ability, Medvedev does have weaknesses in this game that you can exploit if you have the right strategy. And it's just about being able to go out there and implement that right strategy.
And execute it. Yeah, you're totally right. And it's so funny when talking about the head-to-head. It's the reason why I was pretty sure, I was 110% sure he was going to win that Rune match. I'm like, he's not going to come out here and just, la-di-da around. I think making sure you don't have such a huge deficit to a player in the head-to-head. I think it's important to these guys to not let that just get away from them.
Yeah. I think they were saying as well for Medvedev, he's got against any of these three players that were in the semi-finals, he's got quite terrible records this year against them. I think Djokovic, it was a 2-1 head-to-head on that match for 2023, with the only loss coming in Dubai when Djokovic was only really there to collect the paycheck. And then when it comes to Alcaraz, Medvedev got beaten by Alcaraz quite comfortably in Indian Wells and at Wimbledon, and it was only really Medvedev playing the absolute match of his life against Carlos in New York was he able to actually get past Alcaraz in that match there, and then of course against Sinner the more recent head-to-head's been 2-2, given the fact they played 4 times before this year, but the last 2 matches were Sinner victories, and I think that is slightly playing out here as Sinner takes the first set 6-3. See the Italian crowd being absolutely chuffed to bits there in terms of that with that serving performance. It was a hold to 15. A lot of big serving, a lot of aggression by Jannik. He's certainly sort of locked in at the moment. This will feel to Jannik, a 15,000 seater stadium, ATP World Tour Finals. This is going to feel like a Grand Slam to him. This is going to feel like a Grand Slam to a lot of people in the home crowd.
This is, this is basically this is his 5th Grand Slam.
This is the 5th slam, not to borrow the term that
for Jannik Sinner. It's kind of wild that this is a home tournament for him, because I think without the crowd, not that he hasn't been playing fantastic, he's been playing great since we entered the hard court season. Even though since the Asian swing, he's been playing so well. and winning tournaments. So not to say that without the crowd he wouldn't have been doing well, but just that added, sort of energy that they give him, it's priceless, really, and it's really great to see. I feel so happy for him as a player that I think he doesn't get a lot of flack, but even in the beginning of the year, everyone was like, well, why should we really, why should we be giving all this praise to Jannik? Because he's not moving maybe as fast as a Carlos Alcaraz who's winning Grand Slams and stuff. But I've kind of really enjoyed his methodical, step-by-step, one foot in front of the other, and then I'll finally get there. Then this sort of, success at the end is even sweeter, I think, for him, because he did put in the work to be better.
He did. I mean, as you pointed out there, it's this hasn't been the absolute wonder kid bursting through and getting a huge title so early in his career. This has been. I'll be content with getting to a Grand Slam quarterfinal, then maybe a semi-final of the Masters, and then winning a 250, winning a 500, and then getting the Masters 1000 in a slightly weakened field that fell apart. And then following that up by having a lot of really big victories against a lot of players, and then also me being able to have a pretty good head-to-head against somebody who'll be a great adversary in Alcaraz. And as you say, all those bits are starting to come together where we're going to be looking at next season going, right, and what is Jannik going to do in Australia? Are we going to, could he get to the final? Could he potentially even try and win the thing? I mean, okay, we have to be a little bit careful because we haven't seen Jannik do it at the Grand Slam level yet, which is always a big thing. When we go to best of 5, it is a completely different animal. And there's plenty of players we've looked at, look at what we're seeing as the next gen, with Tsitsipas, Medvedev and Zverev. They won big Masters titles. They won the next gen, the ATP finals. Yet they weren't able to really then replicate that in the best of 5 setting to then, really take it to the next level. But certainly, Jannik's got the game at the moment, or at least he's on the trajectory to be a big player in the mix for that Australian Open title, especially as he's shown to be incredibly good on quick hard courts, which the Australian surface is.
Yeah, I'm excited for Australia this year. Just hoping everyone gets there healthy and, everyone makes it to Australia. And I think we should have a good tournament.
No, I mean, liking all the Australian Open social media stuff they've been putting out quite recently, where it's been either countdown, looking at sort of great shots from Nadal, or the clip they put out recently was of 2 players on 2 courts that were playing at the same time, where one point.
Oh, I saw that.
But 1 point lasted the entirety of one service game for a player. And I thought that was absolutely brilliant. And I have to say, when it comes to marketing and it comes to brand management, the Australian Open do an absolutely stellar job at really putting themselves out there on the tennis tour.
Yeah, they do a really, really good job. I mean, even their early sales of tickets and all that stuff.
I'm loving the new thing they built this year as well with the next to court 6, which is like the bar next to the court. That is going to be a brilliant thing to see how that plays out.
How that works. Oh, yeah. Yep. Have you been?
I haven't. I really want to go. I do want to go at one
Same.
point in my life. I am going to be going down to Melbourne to watch to the Australian Open.
One day. It'll be interesting to see how Medvedev responds here. He doesn't seem to see. He's very tricky for me. He doesn't seem to have the answers. He doesn't seem to know what to do, but I also think he's a little bit stubborn in his style of play.
Yeah.
And just trusts it to win matches, which it's fine. Yes, you know, if you know you have a great game and you know it's working for you and you know you are winning matches, he's the third best player in the world currently. So I get that, but then you watch matches like this, or you watch matches like
Yeah.
yeah. We'll see.
Yeah. Kind of cut out for me a bit there. I think my Wi-Fi's been a little bit funny. That was all.
No,
yeah,
I don't know if it's mine too, because I definitely sort of broke up there. Who knows?
On that one. Yeah, you probably seen the news, Stazio, about Murray pulling out of the Davis Cup, which is going to be a big miss.
So sad. I'm so sad. I'm so sad. I'm really so sad. It was not the best news to wake up to.
Yeah.
What happened? I was so, I mean, okay, so coming off of the competition in Manchester, I was just like, oh, this is it. Britain's winning the Davis Cup again. It's going to be great. It's going to be the best thing ever. It's going to be the best thing ever. They're going to go to Malaga and they're just going to win. It's awesome. And then Dan Evans getting injured, that was I was just crushed because I thought no one could beat him and Neil in doubles. I was like, they're going to win. And then waking up to Andy, I was like, what's going on? The whole team is just falling apart. And that's no shade to all the other players. You know, Jack Draper's great. I hear Liam Brody is going to replace Murray, which is good, but I'm bummed. Yeah.
I certainly, like you said, the first one, the Dan Evans versus, is going to be the big one, because Dan Evans at the Davis Cup is a completely different animal to sort of Dan Evans on the rest of the tour. I think if you like Dan Evans at Davis Cup, if that was at a Masters event, I think you could end up winning one, to be honest. But
you'd win them all.
You'd win them all if you could get Davis Cup Dan Evans. But it's a real shame. I mean, like I said, the Dan Evans one I think is the bigger hit, is the worst hit, just because what he could do in doubles and also singles. But it is a case of.
And I think just for the fans, they were looking for sort of a Murray Novak rematch, because we just don't see that on tour anymore because of their rankings. It's hard to watch that. So that would have been nice to see, just to see them battle at it one more time would have been great.
Yeah, I mean, we
won't do it next year. They might.
Yeah, I mean, it was we were meant to see it. You know, we were meant to see it in Madrid last year, but Murray had a bad, I think some kind of jokes in, a bit of a bad paella the night before and had food poisoning, so he had to pull out. But it was I mean, the last time they played each other was in Doha in 2017, and it's and of course the most memorable match that they've last played was of course at the ATP finals in London in 2016, when Murray had to win that match to become year-end number one.
Yeah, it'd be. I would like to see that match again. I would like to see Novak Nadal again. That would be so good. Yeah. Next year should be super exciting. Next year should be actually really fun.
I'm really looking forward to next year now. I know we're going to have it almost feels like, I think everyone was on a bit of a slope or a little bit of a slump after the US Open in terms of, okay, so maybe a little bit of a break now would be good. But yeah, with all the stories that are coming around, Sinner now hitting this absolutely amazing vein of form. From a British angle, seeing what Jack Draper's able to do, and the hope is of next season that he'll be able to put in a full season. Everything is sort of shaping up to be a brilliant 2024 in the tennis calendar.
Yeah. Which is you just want to see all the big guys, all the guys coming up, just healthy, battling it out. Because you're right, I truly think Jack Draper is a top 10 player. I really do. He just hasn't had the opportunity to try. So it would be nice to see him sort of try and give that a go next year.
Yeah, full season, and I think he could definitely get himself into the top 10, certainly top 15.
Yeah, and I want to see how the rest of the tour responds to Novak's season this year, because again, he is currently, you know, he's the best player in the world, is just doing crazy things for his age. But I just think as athletes, you know, you kind of want to say, wait a second, we are also good. You know, the amount of orange in this crowd is so nice. It's so nice.
There was a thing where what was it? There was a thing about somebody taking the image of Jannik's logo. So, you know, Jannik Sinner has his logo, which is his weird sort of fox with a load of squiggly lines sort of making up the fox's head. And then saying, you know, and sort of a screenshot from something a year ago where somebody from his media management team had to explain what was in this logo, but
what it was,
what it was, and all this sort of thing. And that was like something that was trying to be, that was like a brand management thing trying to be controlled by Jannik's team. And then all it takes is 5 guys to wear a carrot little like top type thing, or like a carrot dress. And to start calling themselves the Karatos, for that then to be actually the main branding for Jannik Sinner. It's brilliant.
Yep. Exactly.
No, but that's the thing. Like you were saying about, you know, how does the rest of the tour respond to Novak? There has to be a degree where we have to go, we cannot have another season like that where the 3 out of the 4 Grand Slams go to Novak Djokovic, and realistically go to Novak Djokovic in very comfortable matches, because you know, the one against Tsitsipas, that's a straight set scrubbing. The one against Rune, the one against Ruud in Paris, that was a straight set scrubbing, and then the one against Medvedev, that was barring the second set, the straight set drubbing as well. And the only time he was ever really tested was the Wimbledon final, and it took prime Carlos Alcaraz putting absolutely everything in it to be able to at least snatch a victory against Novak in that match. And we just cannot have another season like that. There needs to be much more competition. Sorry, there we go. They'll go around that.
Yeah. Right now, it just seems to me it's a lot of, you know, like, oh, well, let's just wait him out and he'll go away sometime, which I think is what happened to, you know, Tsitsipas, Zverev, Medvedev. At this point, I think that's just not viable. You have to beat him at his own game. You have to beat him on the court. And you're right. Those finals were so boring.
Yeah, it was almost a bit like a roles reverse in each Grand Slam. I found it was the women's final at the Australian Open was so good, and yet the men's final was so bad.
Yeah,
and then and then same for the French Open. The women's final was so good, the men's final was so bad. But then at Wimbledon, the men's final was so good, but the women's final was so bad. And then it flipped again at the US, where the women's final was great, the men's final was terrible, bit-ish.
So my hope for 2024 is that we get both finals at the Grand Slam to be the best matches ever.
Absolutely agree on that one. That would be brilliant. Certainly to get at Australia, because waking up in the morning up my time and then be able to sort of put on the women's final, that to be a 3-set epic, and then the men's one the day later being a 5-set epic, and I think we'd all be very happy with that one.
Yeah. Thanks, Jane. Thanks for joining in and listening.
Thanks, Jane.
And you know what, Jane? I just saw your comment about the logo being actually slick. It is, like, when you do look at it, because it's the fox, but it actually has his initials in it. And, you know, we're at Deuce here. You're at Deuce, right?
Yes, Medvedev's going to put the pressure on here.
Yeah. Yeah, we're at Deuce on Jannik's serve. And let's see what Medvedev can do here.
Just showing that forehand winners. Medvedev was going up a bit, 8-4. Jannik just needs, if he wants to win this, needs to keep the aggression on it. Really good serve. What a good serve.
Yeah. That was really
That
nice.
is how you can take the pressure off. One swing of the racket.
Ooh.
I mean, it's the akin to in a football / soccer match. Just one player absolutely breaking it at breakneck speed down the other end of the pitch, whilst that team's been under immense amounts of defensive displays, and then just nicking a quick goal and another ace to seal the deal.
His serving has just been so clutch. I think they talked about him changing his service motion, at least his foot placement in his service motion this year, and it's working. It's really working for him. Yeah, but back to the logo. No, his logo is pretty nice. It's pretty slick. It has his initials in it, but it's very well thought out. It's very sort of like branded, and like someone thought about it. Like, the whole explanation thing that they did completely makes sense with the ears for the skiing and the lines for the court, blah, blah, blah. It's really great. But really, like at the end of the day, nothing works best than just organic promotion and marketing. Like he was eating a carrot at a changeover. Someone took it on, and that was it. That was it. And here we are. I haven't seen if they've done it yet. Maybe they're waiting. I probably think they're either waiting for the end of the match, or maybe they'll do it in the finals if he gets there. But did you see the social media post from the Kuroda boys about everyone having an orange card because they wanted to create an orange wave in the stadium?
That'd be pretty epic. That has to wait to the final. That has to be used in the final.
Yeah. So that would be happy for him. Happy for Jannik Sinner that he's getting his moment.
I mean, I think it also shows as well with the logo, like the best logos are the simplest ones. Have been too overcomplicated with like this little part of an ear fox, meaning of this sort of like skiing mounting, and then this swiggling line meaning the S and all that. Way too complicated. The best ones in tennis we've ever seen were Rafa's logo, where it's literally just like the bull horns, because that's what it's associated as, like a Spanish bull. And then the Roger Federer logo, which is just RF, and that was it. And the amount of people I see, normal people, I say normal people, those that don't associate actually like knowing tennis or whatnot, or watching it religiously, walking around with caps on, which still has the RF logo or the bull logos for Nadal. It's like, that is how you do it. A simple, brilliant looking logo, and that's how you get your brand out there.
Yeah. Did you see? Speaking of the bull logo, because I try my best. I really do try my best to separate Carlos Alcaraz and Rafael Nadal. I really do. They're two different people, two different styles of play. But for some reason, he just keeps doing things where I'm just like, are you just trying to be his like little child? Are you doing this on purpose? And it was after that long rally, and he did that celebration, which was basically like a bull. Like it was like El Toro. It was like in the, what are those? Our producer can help me with this. But the bullfighting tournaments. What was the guy called?
El Matador.
Is it El Matador? Is that
Matador,
it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
El Matador.
Yeah, it was such that pose that he did, because usually they'll do that with the sort of the red flag, and I was like, that's a bull. What are you trying to do here? You're just trying to like be baby Rafa, even though you keep saying you don't want to be baby Rafa, but he can't help it. They're both Spanish. They both, I think they just both have naturally the same mannerisms sometimes because of where they're from. But it was really fascinating. I remember seeing that and thinking, not again.
We've got a backhand, a good and into the net. That was a good.
From center, okay. But he does these nature walk things on his day off. He does it in all the tournaments. I kind of like it. it's nice. Like he always posts that day off, like Central Park when he was in New York. He kept going to Central Park on his day off or something.
That's good. I mean, I know that what was it? There was an interview Andy Murray did once where he was talking about him at this stage of his career trying to appreciate the cities and the locations he's going to. Because when he said that when he was younger, he would literally just arrive at the place they were playing tennis, play tennis, and just go to his hotel room and do nothing else. And he and sort of looking not to do just that, but actually to go explore the places that you've got these sort of you're actually playing in, to sort of get a better understanding of it, and enjoy yourself a little bit more when you're traveling all that way.
Yeah. Oh man, Medvedev, what's happening?
Sinner's just locking down at the moment on his serves, getting it all done under 5.
Yeah, we're 40 love here, and he's just
What's the matter? I think we've kind of been lulled into a little bit. Like, we haven't really had like any breakpoint opportunities yet this set. I'm about to probably go as we are now. Oh no, we're not. But I thought I was in. We're about to probably now go to 3-3, which is like halfway through the second set. It's just got quite routine. Just getting a shot there, and it is long. I don't know why, but I do like the logos that they have. Also the logos, but the pictures they've got of the players behind, on that sort of south-facing wall, because some of them are really old photos.
They're from a few years ago, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, one of them. So you carry on.
Huh?
I say that, and I recognise the Rublev one was from like 2 years ago.
Oh. No, because you're talking about the one where it's sort of like Carlos has a red shirt and he has the racket behind his back or something. Yeah, I feel like that is from 2 years ago, because first of all, he looks so young there. But I think I remember either Tennis TV or maybe it was ATP Tour on YouTube. They did a whole video like behind the scenes of that photo shoot, and that was a while ago. That was like very, very long time ago.
I mean, they're nearly as old as the WTA photos, which still need updating. I mean, they feel like they were taken 5 or 6 years ago now.
Oh man, that website freaks me out. It just stresses me out, that website. You can figure it out. I don't know.
I mean, I think they've still got Emma Raducanu's photo still taken from like an ITF page when she was 16. It's like she's a Grand Slam champion. You thought you would have got her in a sports gear and quickly got a fresh photo.
And it's so fun because they just look so copy pasted. I'm just like, what is happening? You're like a professional organization.
Oh, cross court.
Oh.
Ooh. Yeah, maybe that's been quite routine. Been quite routine here. Checking to see if there's any updates on social media at all from anyone.
Oh, okay. That lob did not work. Weird. 3-3.
3-3 at the moment.
Oh wait, what's that score line? Sorry, no, not 3-3.
4-3.
4-3. Yeah. What's Greg doing on the practice court?
It must be either Novak or the only thing that would get Greg to a practice court would be Novak Djokovic. He absolutely is infatuated with him. Oh, and there's Cameron Norrie in the background.
Why
can't be then?
Why is Cameron Norrie?
That must be Carlos then.
Why?
Norrie got taken there because Hurkacz got used as an ult, and Taylor was injured.
So they needed sort of a practice buddy or a
Third
possible.
hole.
Really?
Norrie is.
But is Norrie even next?
He isn't. I think he was.
Just.
I think he was literally the only guy they could probably get who was in the top 20, and he lives in Monte Carlo and was like, "Sod it, why not? I'll come along for a bit." I mean, Monte Carlo and Turin are actually really close together.
Yeah,
probably something like a 2-hour car ride.
I see.
It reminds me of a really funny story with Holger Rune, where it was in 2022. Rune was down for 1 week playing a challenger in just in northern Italy, just by the border with France. But then he was also hoping to get into Monte Carlo, and there was a point where he just managed to get into qualifying for Monte Carlo, and then had to. And it was able to on the Saturday. They did the Saturday finish for the challenger on clay. He played that final he got to the final. He played that final. He then jumped into the car and then raced over to Monte Carlo to be able to play in the last match session for the first round of qualifying, which he managed to actually win that match and also win his next match to qualify for the tournament. Which I thought was just brilliant. I thought that was just a brilliant story. So he picks up the challenger title, goes, brilliant, I can't stay around, I've got to shoot. I've got a place to be. I've got to play another match to actually qualify for the Masters event, which is just taking place literally like 100 miles in that direction, or like 50 miles in that direction.
Wow.
Sinner just coming to the net and getting that sorted.
Sorry, just reading the chat. I do feel bad for Hubie. I think he definitely had the game to make it to the semis for sure.
He's been playing really well. It was just unfortunate that he basically chose this point of the season. It was too late. It was too late in terms of to be able to mount proper.
It was too late.
Run.
It was
If he was able to pick up a ton of points somewhere else in the season, then he would have been able to have he picked up more points earlier in the season, and he probably would have actually overtaken Rune.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because before that he was tracking actually around about 16 in the world. Medvedev though looking good here.
Hello from Colombia, Daniil. Hello.
Big exchange taking place at the moment between both players. God, this is a good rally. Backhand by Sinner, backhand by Medvedev. Ooh. Forehand line by Sinner. Medvedev cross court. Oh, that was just out. That was just out. That would have been a brilliant winner if that stayed in.
Yeah. But you know what he's saying actually? The point earlier, I think, was out, but he just didn't challenge. But I do think there was a point earlier from Sinner that was out. But he kept playing, and that's how the cookie crumbles. Oh, it was in. It was on the line. Okay. That was on the line.
So Sinner's I think that was Sinner's shot was actually in. So if he challenged, he would have lost the point anyway.
Yeah.
It was I think he's just broken on the ball.
This is Medvedev's chance in terms
of firing the ball into it.
Yeah.
This is it. If he wants to get this break.
It has to be now.
Cross court. Jeez. Backhand.
Whoa.
This is turning into a rally. Cross court, backhand, forehand up the line. Oh, the mistake by Medvedev.
Oh.
Oh, he's not doing it in the pressured situations. He is not doing it.
No. Sinner's backhand is so, it's just so nice. It's definitely working.
Both wings are just brilliant to see.
But just his backhand cross court, I was like, wow, that's just, yeah.
Just showing it rally over length.
Both players out of breath.
Okay, so they're going to be able to
Trying
hold
to
it.
catch their breath.
Goes at the line. Backhand. That was Sinner making a mistake there.
Yeah. Is he
He
challenging
is. I don't
him,
know
or-
why he's
yes.
challenging it. It looked well wise.
Yeah.
That's a bad challenge.
Mm. I wonder if that was also sort of like a catch my breath moment.
It probably
Yep,
was.
challenge.
It was like, right, just give me a minute.
He needs a good.
Oh, it's the net.
Oh no. Advantage Medvedev. Here we go. I just love when the coaches stand up because they're just like, okay. They're like paying attention now.
Right, break point. Oh, okay, second serve. Oh, that was close.
No.
That was close to a double.
Was that a net? Yes, it was. Okay.
It was a net.
I
Yeah,
know.
net there. Just clipped off the net there. Okay. Backhand. Walking across the court. Comes to the net. Sinner goes for the smash. Sorts it out.
There we go. That was so good. That was the volley that Zverev was looking for the other day, and he lost. So.
What an idiot.
I will never forget that volley till the day I die. I'll think about that volley.
I mean, it was harder to miss.
Oh, so nice.
It was so harder to miss that volley.
I just don't know what he was doing or thinking. It just, yeah.
Oh, Sinner, little cheeky drop shot.
Oh.
That works an absolute treat. Just get. I mean, it's a good tactic.
Yep.
Medvedev is not good at the net. Medvedev is not good at the net.
No, he's not. Every time he comes in, well, not every time, but for the most part, every time he comes in, it just goes long.
Sinner going to get it sorted.
I know what he should be doing in his off season.
Probably playing squash to help him. I'd be careful, actually. You could probably end up pulling a muscle. He's too tall for a squash court, probably. Padel, that'd be a good one to have a go at. Padel. That's it. That's in a combined space.
Padel, yes. That's what he should be doing. Oh no.
Oh, for bleeding hell, Sinner. And you need to get to the golf range.
Yes. Yeah. Rebecca Deuce here. Again, I feel for Medvedev, this is the must break moment.
So it goes down the tee, perfectly placed. Ace, number, whatever. I don't know.
About a 10-minute game here so far. Oh,
Not like that. Backhand by Medvedev, backhand by Sinner, backhand by Medvedev, backhand by Sinner. Oh, there. Oh, long by Medvedev. The
that was that, no?
unforced error. The unforced error on that one. There was no need for that whatsoever.
Nope.
Yeah, 9 minutes and 59 seconds. 56. About 9 minutes and 56 3 seconds. If I could actually read the number, that'd be helpful.
Yeah. Okay, we're at 4-all here, and we continue.
This would be the perfect time for a boomerang break. Oh, is it going to drop? Oh, no, it's long. He gets the first point.
Oh, long. It's long.
Medvedev is having a chat
What's
with the
he
umpire.
complaining about?
Just listening, see if you can hear it. Oh, nothing. I was talking about screaming during the match.
Oh.
Tries to go down and see. I feel like Sinner's going to break here. I don't know what it feels like. This feels like it's written for this. Oh dear.
Oh.
Going all over the shot. Cross court. Forehand by Medvedev into the net, and it is love 30.
Oh, here we go.
Like I said, it feels like the momentum's building for this.
Mm-hmm.
Crowd are very on into this. Okay, it goes on the tee, backhand by Sinner. And my screen's frozen. Brilliant.
Oh. Medvedev won the point.
Did it?
So it's 30-15.
Fortunately, I'm in a day where my internet's been funny. It hasn't been funny for blooming months, and it does it today. Oh, that was too long by Medvedev. Goes down the line, backhand by Sinner, forehand by Medvedev, backhand by Sinner, forehand by Medvedev, backhand by Medvedev. Oh, why did you do that?
Long from Sinner in that rally.
Absolutely no need for that.
Isn't James on fire all the time?
Thanks. Right. This is now 40-30 to
But today's, oh, okay. Was that out? No, he got it.
Just having a
Oh,
video replay.
he's challenging the ace, but I thought it was on. Yeah,
It was on the line.
yeah, it's in. Yeah.
Okay. So that now makes it 5.
Yes.
Thanks for that, John. Or Talking Tennis TT.
Talking Tennis TT. What's our subscriber count now, producer friend? If you're watching us, if you're loving James's commentary, who is on fire today, please give us a like, give us a subscribe, because we're gonna hit 5,000 by the end of the year, and you want to be part of that. You want to say that you got us there. So
exactly what Astasia has just said. Just exactly what Astasia has just said.
Let's go to 5,000.
4,047. It's really gone up as well quite recently. I think we could certainly by the end of this week hit 4-1.
Yeah, I think we can. We could probably get there by the next match. What do you think of the next matchup? I mean, the sort of our next semifinal is going to be Novak while the players are sitting here. Novak Alcaraz. What do you think of that?
I think we're going to probably be in for an absolute epic again. I think I don't know if it's going to be at the level of Cincinnati, but I certainly feel as though this should be an absolute cracker. Alcaraz shows up against Djokovic. That was quite, referring to Cincinnati again. Alcaraz's games before Djokovic were hit and miss, so and so. And then it got to that Djokovic match, and it was like level 100 from Alcaraz straight from the get go. And I think we're going to see something similar. I got a feeling it's going to be Alcaraz who's going to win. I have a feeling Alcaraz is going to win that match. I'm probably going to be in the minority. A lot of people are going for Djokovic on that one, but yeah, I'm going Alcaraz in 3 for that contest.
Yeah, he definitely, he wakes up for matches against Novak. The smile on his face during his on-court interview when they were like, "You're playing Novak next," and he was like, "Yes." He was like, "Best day ever." So, and if his form had kind of been sort of, his first match, I would have been worried of like, oh, I don't know how that's going to go. But he's back, he's the light in his eyes. I just think Carlos is the sort of player who needs to be happy and free on court. And that's mostly what, brings him joy and makes him perform his best. So I'm excited for that match. That should be a lot of fun.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's almost like you look at a narrative. It's, he's seen, he's seen what Sinner's done in terms of, winning Beijing, winning in Vienna, tearing it up in Turin as he is at the moment. Djokovic winning Paris, looking dominant. Medvedev putting in some solid performances, and is like, hang on, everyone else around me, okay, you're doing well, but I'm one of the main guys. I am the main guy, and I am going to rock up just when we need it. I am here. You are not going to write me off. I am going to show you by winning my group first of all, and then I'm gonna take out your chosen one in Djokovic, and I want that matchup against Sinner in the final.
You're so right, because I did not see him winning that group. Like, that was just such a turnaround. That was just a turnaround of events. So it's like, wait, what? What's happening?
Yeah, because there was 8 players that were in really great form. It felt like there was 7 players that were in really great form this tournament, and one that wasn't, and the one that wasn't has now won one of the groups. Oh, Sinner here, nice one there, very quick.
Yeah,
very quick. Yeah, we're at 5-5. 5-5. Okay. Do you feel this is going to go to a tiebreaker, or do you think one of them's going to take it?
Yeah. I think
tie break?
if it's feeling like a tiebreak, because I just think Daniil is feeling the pressure a little bit. All those long rallies in the last couple of games has shown that. I think he's going to hold here, so to take it to a tiebreak. Which is frankly the way it should be.
Score backhand. Straight to the feet and go for the smash.
Oh.
How do you like that? He says. He's like, that's the key. Come to the net, control the point. Backhand, into the net.
On our next sit down or whatever, if our producer can pull up the tweet from Medvedev's quote at his press conference, where he says, "You just, can't just come to the net and win against me." And I'm like, I feel like that's just what you have to do.
I think Novak Djokovic at the US Open final, winning 20 out of 22 points at the net against you on a serve and volley, kind of speaks for that being true. To be honest,
yeah.
Honestly, 30... I think I remember there was the match. You remember when Maxime Cressy was a thing? He could actually play tennis, and it was the Australian Open match that he had against Novak Djokovic in 2022, where not Djokovic, against Medvedev in 2022, and it was I think it was a Medvedev in 4 sets, but he just ended up shouting at one point, "This is so boring," because of the serve and volley, because he was getting absolutely nowhere on his service games.
Yeah. Just
when I say Maxime Cressy is a thing, I've still got a lot of bad blood against that Maxime Cressy. Eastbourne 22 knocks out 4 Brits in a row to get to the final. It was ridiculous.
Is he? I think he was just at a challenger somewhere because his name came up, and I was like, oh, he's still. I thought he was going to sort of, start his off season after the U.S. Open, but I saw his name in a challenger.
Yeah, he's been playing a lot of indoor challenges in Europe. I've noticed. I think he was at the Swedish one this week. I think the one at Damien's at, and I think he was also at that carpet one that Damien went to a couple of weeks back in Poland as well. Not Poland, sorry, in Germany.
Mm.
The last carpet challenger in the world. Yeah.
Oh, that was a very odd moon ball there. Okay. Medi holds.
I'm just going to quickly put myself into the background, into the back stage, just because I need to quickly nick the WC, but I'm trying to put myself in the background and I can't find a way of doing it. But I'll just quickly give me a tip.
I'll do it.
Thanks for tuning into this watch along. While there's a break in play, here's a reminder to hit the like button, subscribe, and click that notification bell. Your support helps to keep the channel going. While we're here, you can now become a member to enjoy perks, including badges for the live chat, but also bonus material such as interviews with top players from both ATP and WTA tours. The membership link is pinned in the live chat. You can also follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. So whether it be serves or volleys, forehands or backhands, serve bots or drop shots, we've got you covered, whether that be via our website, talking-tennis.com, where you can read features and interviews from our top writers. Or if you prefer us in audio form, you can subscribe to our podcast on Apple, Amazon, or Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from. Remember, we offer you wall-to-wall coverage via our regular watch-alongs, magazine shows such as Nick's WTA Weekly or Damien and Mario's ATP version. Plus, we deliver top content from people on the ground, actually at the tournaments, so you get even nearer to the action. So, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button, so you don't miss out on all things tennis.
There we are, just quickly getting ourselves ready as we expect that this, unless Sinner has an absolute howler of a service game, it's probably going to go to a tiebreaker.
Yeah. I'm trying to find the quote for our producer. It's not this one about how he came from, although it's actually really nice, to see a different perspective. Because yes, we're not used to, but I think the audience really does latch on to the sort of meteoric rise of some people, like, win 3 Grand Slams now, but Medi had a slow and steady race, not very much unlike, our friend Sinner here.
Yeah, because what was it? Medvedev up until the age of 23 was basically just like stagnating for a bit, wasn't he?
Yeah.
As it is 15 all at the moment.
Can Medi break here to take it to 3, or are we going to a tie break? Let's see.
Wow, first serve points won, 35 of 40 on the Sinner serve. That is some high numbers.
Oh yeah, did you also another great, I just saw a tweet from Brad Gilbert, who I love his nicknames for these players. He calls Sinner Sin City and Medvedev is Medi Bear. He just he has the cutest nicknames for these players.
What's good old Brad said, good old Coco Goss coach.
Yeah. He's a fun follow. He was talking about Sinner serving, which has been good.
It has been incredibly strong. So it's 30-15 at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Second serve.
Good bit of kick on that serve. But Medvedev is in control at the moment.
See, when he that's the okay. I'll say it.
That was a bit too passive there from Sinner. That wasn't able to really get control at that point.
Right, and he did win that point, but I think he could have won it like 4 shots before. When he took him super out wide on the second stroke, he could have come in. He could have come in, taken the ball early, volleyed it in. But you're right, like he's not comfortable at the net. So, he stayed at the baseline and was able to still win the point. But I think he could have won that. What am I saying? I'm not like his coach or anything. I don't know, but that's what it looked like to me.
That was a good serve out wide by Sinner. Just cuts it out.
Okay. 1 point away from a
tie
break.
So it goes. Cross-court by Medvedev, backhand by Sinner, backhand by Medvedev, backhand by Sinner, forehand by Medvedev, drop shot by Medvedev. Sinner comes to Medvedev comes to the net.
Oh,
what a terrible hit that was from Medvedev.
That was
an absolute shocker. Like, just go for the drop shot. Sinner's halfway around the court. He's not going to reach it. Just drop shot it over.
Was an Omaha. This is what I mean. Like okay. The assignment. We're at tiebreak, guys. Tiebreak. The assignment for Medvedev in the off season is just hit volleys. Okay, just do that. Oh, this is the tweet I was talking about. I think it is a great strategy, actually. Medi Bear.
Just got a challenge on a ball. That looks like it was in. It was well in.
Yeah.
I say well in. It was In. Okay, so Sinner now serving. This was cool. Backhand by Medi. Backhand by pass. Not the pass, sorry. Sinner. 1-1. Well, the one thing we're not seeing today is Medvedev shouting at Gilles, because Gilles is still there, even if Gilles is stop.
This is true. You know what? We haven't seen him shout at him or at the crowd, which he usually would have.
Yeah.
You know, he's actually just been pretty, all about the tennis. The only thing, other than one time he came over to the umpire, he's actually just been fine.
Well, there's not really been anything controversial. That's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's been, from that point of view, but this is a rally and a half. Good one there by Medvedev. Comes to the net though. Sinner, can he reach that? No, he can't. Brilliant drop shot by Daniil.
He was listening. He was listening to you, James. He thought
he was. If Sinner's
like,
standing, if Sinner's deciding that he wants to go stand in the Mediterranean Sea to try and return your serves, you make sure you drop shot that ball.
Yep. I love how you pick the Mediterranean Sea, and I always say Iowa. That's how you can tell we're from different continents.
I do my best. My background's tourism. I do my best to sort of work out just vaguely what are location marks. Like I could, like if because I'm guessing, and my big guess is that the camera angle is south facing.
Mm-hmm.
So going like, well, Sinner's at the bottom, and he's that far behind. He's clearly at the Mediterranean.
Oh, he tried it again, but missed that one.
That was a poor one by Medvedev. Comes to the net, thinks he's Maxine Cressy. Turns out he's more like Maxine Nessie. That's even a person.
Someone quote that. Just clip it, and we'll play it over and over again.
All right, back on serve. Oh, no, it's gone. Cross court. Oh, it's nearly slipped. Cross court. Oh, that's poor by Sinner. But Medvedev puts him in that position. 4-2.
Have you noticed this tie break? He's just been charging the net. I'm like, who's this new person?
Yeah, no, he's obviously decided that, instead of sitting back at the back of the court ain't working, I'm going to have to rush the guy.
Yeah. I mean, that's fine. Just do something different or you're going to lose this match.
Okay, so just have to sit down and see what happens. Sinner goes up in the air, goes down with the tee. Oh, he's not really making much first serves in this tiebreaker.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, long by Medvedev. Just about taking a little bit of pressure off there. Absolutely no need for that.
I do like that camera angle. They use it a lot in Paris.
Yeah, the really low down where it feels like you're just above the head to the player.
Yeah.
It's certainly a good one to see, especially when you've got two players of two contrasting styles with the balls. It's really good to see how they fly over the net.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a brilliant serve by Daniil. Literally kissed the line on the way over. By 3, Medvedev.
Ooh. Okay, here we go.
6-3 now.
He has set points.
Cross court, no luck.
Oh, again.
Slightly
With this-
longer, slightly long.
Yeah,
Apologies again for quiet, everyone. It was just a very tense moment.
yeah.
Will Sinner be able to get it at least then asked? He needs to get Medvedev to at least ask the question. 6-4 to Medvedev at the moment. Sinner with his second service point. Goes cross court. Medvedev just about reaches that. Oh, long by Sinner. So we are going to a
We're
third
going 3,
set.
baby. Yeah.
Going to a third
That was
set.
actually
Medvedev.
really that was a really great get for that serve because he came in, it curved right in and hit the line for that point. That was really nice. Sinner didn't serve well that tie break.
He didn't. It was actually really poor actually by Sinner, I'd say, in that one.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, time for more coffee and move my legs a bit, but I'll be back, as they say.
Cool. We will probably go for a quick break as I'm guessing Medvedev and Sinner will do the same.
Hey, thanks for taking the time to, well, you haven't got any choice, actually. I'm just talking at you, if you like. But I'm here also to present to you why I think it's not a bad idea and not that expensive as well if you become a member. And this is how you can do it, and this is what you can gain. So if we look here at the Talking Tennis sort of home page, if you like, on YouTube, we can see this little button here which says join. It is also pinned in the live chat as well, and you can also, I think, see it just below most of our videos, certainly the live ones and so on. Now, why is it a good idea to join and become a member? Well, in the live chat, you can add little funny things, you can add emojis and all sorts of things, but possibly more importantly, you can get to access some live videos, such as this one here, where we look back on the last sort of few moments from the Billie Jean King Cup. So there are little bonuses such as this one, but there are many, many more. And in fact, if we have a quick look at all of the members only stuff, I repeat, you will see very, very quickly some of the top stuff that we've had for members only over the last 12 months since the channel began. Remember, these videos are for members only. You can become a member from as little as about $2 a month, €2 a month, £2 a month, something like that. There are various different things. Oh, and by the way, you'll also be supporting the channel. So it's a win-win-win-win scenario. Let me just show you some of the members only stuff. For example, we've got an exclusive little clip there talking to Laura Siegmund, Laura Tsurenko, her encore interview, some doubles footage there from Monastir, the Germany press conference pre-tournament Billie Jean King Cup, Claire Burrell talking as well to the media in her press conference in Monastir, Storm Hunter and Alicia Parks interview, Rebecca Masarova, her
Back quite quickly there. So let's see who will look to be victorious in this. Victorious in this third set, as all the players are still just getting ready, effectively at this point, and Stasia is just still going to get her coffee. What type of coffee it's going to be? I say that as somebody who drinks it. I'm not. So yeah, I have to ask. I have to make it. I made it once. I say made it once. So I used to work as at a cafe in one of those Marks and Spencers in the UK. I worked in the cafe there for a 6-month period, making cappuccinos, lattes, mochas, cordados, I think they're called, and espressos and whatnot. So I know how to make them. I know that they're meant to be the best ways of actually having a coffee, but I never actually really like the flavour. So I've never actually never really tasted them properly, because I tried it once as a coffee and not really liked it. So that just sort of goes into my sort of weird rant about coffees, as we just got the players coming back onto court, as they are at the moment. Check something out of my system. So we're still waiting for the players to rock up. Need that to install there. So please do let us know in the chat what you think will who you think will. God, my hair's all over the shot probably. Who you think will win this third and final set? Now, Sinner did give up the second set. He did give up the second set against. He did give up the second set against Rune in the previous contest, as we can see on the board here. On the board, yeah, that's not my job coming into fruition here. We can see from the post by Liam Brody here that he was gutted for Andy and gutted to be letting down his French club team Loon Plague. But when your country comes calling and you don't have a choice, see you guys in Malaga. That then means that, of course, once confirmed, and that the LTA did it as well, that Liam Brody will be replacing Andy Murray as the 5th player in the Team GB setup going to the Davis Cup. As we've just got a poll up here saying Novak Djokovic and Carlos Alcaraz are into a 5th stroke match, but who will take the W in the in this ATP finals encounter? Currently, we've got 68% of you saying Djokovic, 32% of you saying Alcaraz. So at the moment, you're quite heavily in favour of the Serbian picking up the win, and given his recent form, it makes sense. But as we saw in Cincinnati, Alcaraz gets up for matches against Novak, and it'd be interesting to see if that continues going forward. As we're just waiting for the light show to end, Sinner is about ready to start serving. I don't know if Medvedev's still yet back on the court, but I think he's just more at the moment just walking around, just keeping warm. As you would sort of expect to do at this point. I always wonder when it comes to the tournaments, especially when they like to have those sort of different lights at the background, in terms of in Rotterdam they like to have the lights on the fans being in a very greeny color. Here they like it in a blue, it's like a blue tinge. As we get a great shot here, I always do like shots from the fans on the tennis court, just to see where the players are and how the standings. So we've got this great shot just above us here. It's always a good shade of blue they go for, with the sort of like the light blue outer with a sort of like dark blue inner. And we've got Anastasia back as Medvedev is back on court and we're about to start going again.
Yeah, so he went off for what?
I'd say good coffee.
Oh, well, it's here, refilled. I was just gonna say he went off for a medical timeout, but I don't remember seeing him being impeded by anything. Like he seemed fine before that, but let's see. And I don't think, you know what, if anything, it might have been something that he had before, and then he just had to make sort of an adjustment with whatever, maybe he does have taping. I think I heard the commentators on Prime say maybe he had like a groin thing that's taped and he had to go off court to do that. So we'll see.
It's good to hear they're all needing to be bandaged up. Sinner goes for a brilliant drop shot there. That was an excellent drop shot. Just saying my device, I was watching on my iPad and it's now decided to do an update just quite over suddenly. So I've kind of moved over to my phone to be able to see what's happening. So I'm like squinting at the screen. It's like, you know, phones are great. They're really big these days, but not big enough.
but not that big.
Not that big.
Which means, because I'm watching on my iPad too, so which means I probably have an update incoming after this match.
Moving back out by Sinner. Oh, just in. And that one isn't in. The amount of times you see that from players, just generally, where they get very close to the line, it almost looks out on one shot, and then on the exact next shot, they then decide, you know what, I wasn't close enough, so I'm going to smash it long. And we have the Talking Tennis account has just put who is going to be covering the match later on for the Djokovic Alcaraz match. It's going to be Damien and Vanch. Damien and Vanch are going to be taking you through the big match between Djokovic and Alcaraz.
Which I'll be watching on mute.
Yeah, that's the thing. Put the tennis on in the back. Put the tennis on as your like visual thing you're watching, and then put us on the side just as a as the thing that you listen, as the things you listen to, and as long as they make sure they sync up fairly the right way, then your job's a good one. Sinner is 40-30 up. There we go. Got my iPad properly back now. So I can actually see what's happening. Nice little. It's almost like a bit of a glide. It's like an ice skater. Yeah, it's almost like an ice skate. It sort of just glides towards it and then goes over.
Oop, just to the other side. Yeah. He is a former skier, so he definitely.
He knows how to deal with slippery surfaces. So he's getting bigged up by his team there. One love. So 1-1 to
Sinner.
1-0 to Sinner. Well, he could try and get the early break. I think he would dearly like an early break, to be honest. Out by Medvedev, goes 15 up. Yeah. Just got some more data popping through. Almost feel like it's some sort of like weird election light, looking at all the numbers popping through from different places. 50-50 at the moment on our Twitter poll for Djokovic versus Alcaraz, but it's much more in favor on YouTube at 68-32.
What does that say? What does that mean about the YouTube versus Twitter audience?
You It clearly means there's more that Pavi and his armada of Novak fans have taken to the Twitter page. They've been frantically scrolling through to find any poll that can put Novak in a good light.
Novak. Pavi's armada.
I swear, you know, I wonder if
Was
the part
that?
where Pavi's armada. I wonder if
No,
it's
it
like
was
some.
long.
It was long by Daniil there. You know, I do wonder if they, you know, he's like a big, like a super Novak supporter, just like looks at random points during the day, just screams like "Demo" or something like that. Oh, tries to go for. Oh, this is looking dangerous for Medvedev at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
It is dangerous. He is swimming in a shark-infested custard at the moment, and that shark is Sinner.
Sinner's hitting is just so clean, not missing a beat.
He's come out really strong this start of the set. He obviously feels as though his best chance of getting the victory is getting that early break. Got a double fault, cross court, forehand by Medvedev, backhand by Sinner. That was. No, that's not good from Sinner. That's not good at all.
I wonder if our producer is just keeping track of all of James' fun sayings. It's like a shark swimming in custard-infested waters. He's giving Robbie Koenig a run for his money here. So
I don't think anyone.
We should highlight them all.
I don't think anyone could outdo Robbie. I mean, he's been working on that craft for decades.
I love it. I love his sayings because they just, you know, they spice things up a little bit.
They do. Oh, good backhand. Bad backhand. That went from a good backhand to a bad backhand in a very quick span of points there. Got an advantage for Sinner as Medvedev hits a backhand wide.
Break point number 3.
Oh, tries to go cross court, and I've now lost signal. Oh, just hits the net though. Second serve.
Ooh.
The wife is not. I've forgotten her name. Is not happy with that one.
She's like, "What was that?" What?
And the break, of course, is now made.
Yep.
Oh, he's got what he needs at the start of the third. It feels a bit like Medvedev just gets into his groove by the end of a set. Getting that break early is key. But it's also key that you don't hand it back. And I fear that Sinner may have just started the ball rolling on that now.
Yeah. Let's see. He needs to hold here.
Goes down the tee, no luck. Gets on the tee, backhand, forehand. Ooh, geez, come on. Backhand down the line, forehand by Medvedev, backhand by Sinner. Medvedev with a drop shot. Sinner, you cannot miss this. And he doesn't.
Oh, yeah.
And he doesn't. He nearly did, though. It was close to the line. He was really happy with that.
It was, yeah. But sort of the volley.
Oh, that was close, though. He came to the net, and when he went... when he tried to do backhand to Medvedev, I was like, this is not looking good. But then was able to on Medvedev's return just put it the other side and out of Medvedev's way as the racket gets a little bit of work on it.
Yep. Stop pointing at people, Medvedev. Okay, this is the Medvedev we love and adore. Now he's pointing at people. Here we go.
He's now going to have a go at the fans.
Yeah. Yep. Here we go. Stop talking. Okay. He says stop talking.
Sinner wants the absolute opposite. He wants the fans to talk more.
Yeah. I understand, Sally, but sometimes I feel like this is the Medvedev that he needs to do this. He needs to, rile up the crowd a bit and all that stuff to kind of get back into it.
Backhand. Okay, good bit of play there by Sinner. You can tell how important Sinner sees this game by how much he's celebrating every single point. He knows that now he is ahead. He needs to stay ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so 40, 30, 40, 30. Cross court. Long by Medvedev.
Nice.
And that's it. Halfway home. Sinner is halfway home. Medvedev is still rabbiting. I think we now have some tennis to see what he's going to do next.
Yeah, I was trying to. I don't want to turn it up too loud. I'm trying to understand what he's talking about, but. Oh, that poor racket.
I mean, you can understand his frustration. I mean, he's shooting the flag. Oh, never have you. You can understand his frustration though. He's worked tooth and nail just to get the second set and has just ended up throwing away the first 3 games, it feels like.
Yeah. And I get it. I do think to a certain extent, Medvedev has felt left out of the conversation. I'll never forget his pre-tournament press conference at the US Open, where obviously everyone's just talking about, well, let's just skip to the finals and get Alcaraz Novak finals at the US Open. And I remember him saying, I'm still here. We can't just put them in the finals. And I think he came out at that, the Carlos Alcaraz semifinal match and was like, he was not going to lose that because he was trying to prove a point. Of course, then he shows up at the final super flat, but it is what it is. And I think in that situation as well, he really wanted to at least, what was that?
I think it was in though. It was in.
Was that in or out? Oh, it wasn't. It was in. Okay.
It was way too close. Like he didn't need to be it didn't need to be that good, but it was.
He didn't need to do that.
It was way too close.
We didn't sort of need the jumping smash situation. But yeah, I think he definitely has been trying to prove a point this season that, I am number 3 in the world and I should still be in the conversation. It's not just the Novak Alcaraz show.
I mean, I think a lot of it was also down.
And here we go, Sinner.
Was down to his placement in the draw. I mean, a lot of people would have preferred it if Sinner was on. I know Sinner was on the right side, but Sinner didn't get far enough. but would have preferred it if Medvedev was on the Djokovic side and that Sinner was on that, you know, in that
on the outside
Rune,
side.
yeah, and Sinner was in a Rune quarter that would have been on the Alcaraz half. If that makes any sense. And then it would have meant that those two would have then met in the semis, and in which case we know that Sinner and Alcaraz is a 50-50 match every single time, and we know that Medvedev knows how to beat Djokovic, so they would have been two competitive matches. And it was because it was the big complaint. It was the big complaint from Wimbledon was that, well, if you just swap Sinner and Medvedev around so they were playing the other person, then they would have been much more competitive matches than what they ended up actually being. But then, of course, Medvedev went, I'm just going to beat the guy that you think I can't beat, and then I'm going to, and then we're going to have a bit of a naff final.
Yeah. And I'm sorry.
They were just saying as well, actually, on the commentating gig, that this feels like it's probably been the best ATP finals in recent, at least certainly in recent memory. What do you think to that sort of statement?
I agree. I completely agree. I tweeted about this actually a couple of days ago when I was like, I have not enjoyed an ATP finals. Verify the top 8. First of all, I thought the top 8 for this year were definitely the top 8 players that played this season. And just all the matchups were good. Like all the matchups that I could think about were except for Zverev Medvedev, which have just been like, yeah, it's like what it is. It is what it is with that matchup. Sinner lost that volley thing at the net. Volley rally, I guess you can say. But I completely agree. I really enjoyed I have enjoyed so far this ATP. Like last year, I was like, yeah, good. Didn't pay attention last year. 2020 was, 2021, same, didn't really, I just haven't, for some reason, I've been just more excited by this finals. Do you feel the same way or no?
Absolutely. I mean, I think the last. I mean, I've only ever really started properly watching these finals since say 21 was the first one I started watching. I mean, like I caught bits of like when Murray was in Murray matches in London, but that was about it. But certainly this, I mean, every single match just seems to be uber competitive, and it's just been brilliant to watch. You know, barring the odd, that Medvedev Zverev match wasn't. I mean, it's just been a great advertisement to the fact that players can bring their best level at the last big event of the year.
Yeah, this is a really good point here by our producer, because where the groups landed was perfect. It was so even. It was so evenly split. I love the grouping. I think Jannik can hold on sports and politics.
Yeah, I was just saying that that usually plays into why some tournaments tend to be better than others, is when you get the perfect matchups, those competitive matchups going throughout the tournament, and not having, I mean, the classic line was, a more recent one was Swiatek, Coco Gauff, where it felt like every single tournament, Coco Gauff was ended up in the quarter with Swiatek, and we always like, well, we know exactly how that's going to pan out, and there would be no competitive edge to that. But as you say, like you had in Djokovic's group 3 people that know how one person who's an Italian home hopeful who would have wanted to have got the victory as Sinner goes 4-1 up. Rune, who knows how to beat him, and then also who's the other person in that group as well, and then Tsitsipas, Tsitsipas was a bit of a whipping boy of that group effectively, but at least there was 2 other people in there which made it competitive.
No, totally. I'll be right back.
Sure. So we are 4-1 at the moment. Could we be running towards a Sinner victory here, getting himself into the final? I know something he would dearly love to be able to do is to get himself to the final. Or is Tsitsipas, because it says Tsitsipas, or is Medvedev going to be getting himself back into it at the moment? I mean, like I said, I think it's one of those things where if Tsitsipas, why do I keep saying Tsitsipas? If Sinner can keep ahead and just win the next 2 service games, or say, yeah, Sinner, the only way for me Sinner winning this match is by staying ahead at the moment. I feel if Medvedev breaks back, then we probably are looking at Medvedev going for the title, in my opinion, at that point. But if Sinner can stay ahead, then he will win the contest. He just needs to make sure he does not get broken. That is the key thing here. It is the key thing here. And I certainly like to... I mean, one of the things as well is that I had a look at the prices for tickets to the event, and they are very expensive, even for the tickets in the absolute gods for this event. And I feel as though the majority of the matches, if you've had a ticket, you've got your money's worth. Especially if you've only got a one set, like an afternoon session or an evening session ticket.
The only so I had a friend who was in Turin. She's left now, so she was there for 3 days, and unfortunately, she had a ticket to the Tsitsipas Rune match.
Ooh.
And for her, her all the other tickets were worth it. She also got some tickets for, which is interesting. I didn't realize, but they have in Turin, they have a free practice court, but only certain amount of people. You have to have, basically your entrance, your gate entrance determines if you can get onto the free practice courts, and then the other practice courts is paid. So you have to actually pay to go watch practice, which is quite interesting. They're making their money at this event. But yeah, she had tickets to that, and she just was so disappointed, that she didn't get a match. And obviously watching Hubie Hurkacz and an injured Taylor Fritz is not exactly what people were paying for.
No. Is she going to get a partial refund at all, or is...
No refund. No refund.
No refund at all?
At all. At all.
Ouch. I mean, they would have thought maybe... I would have thought just maybe like a partial refund, because they did at least get the doubles match as part of the ticket package, but...
Yeah. No, they basically... She was told, you got a match. They still got this sort of exhibition match situation. So no refund.
Oh dear on that one.
Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness. Sinner has a look here.
He does have a bit of a look.
Let's see how that goes.
I mean, if he gets a double break here, we might as well pack up and go home, because then it's done.
Yeah. No,
or he could decide that he could decide that he's just going to swing wildly from the hip and see what happens.
That's not how you get a double break, Sinner.
He's also standing further back than he usually is. There's a stat that said that he's standing around about 40 centimeters further back behind the baseline than he was
before. Yeah.
Cross court, back to Medvedev's feet. Oh no, that was out. Is he going to challenge? Yeah, he's been challenged. He did look close. Probably was still just out. See how this turns out.
And
okay, that was not close. I will take that back. Yeah, second serve there. Cross court, backhand by Sinner, forehand, backhand by Medvedev. Nice backhand cross court by Sinner. That was lovely. Medvedev scrambling.
Okay, here we go. Team Sinner is up on their feet. Love it.
They want to get it done here. They don't want to get. They want him to get the break here. Cross court, back forehand by Sinner, backhand by Wingy. Oh, was that backhand long? No, it was in. So Sinner is really scrambling at the moment. Cross court, nice one. Cross down the line. Cross court again. Up the line there. Brilliant up the line by Medvedev. Crikey.
Yeah.
Oh, where was that? That had some disguise on it. Fully expected that to go cross court again, and I think so did Sinner.
I did. Yeah, that was really good.
Just about skims the net. Tries to go to the line, hits the net. Second serve. Backhand by Sinner, backhand, forehand, backhand. Oh, Sinner says anything you can do, I can do better.
You can do better.
I can do a disguise backhand down the line just as much as you can, mate.
Anything you can do, I can do better.
Okay. This feels like a real pivotal game now, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no. Oh, it was just in.
Oh.
And that's just long. And that is a break point.
Oh. Let's go, Sinner.
Break point for a double break. And what will effectively feel like match point at the same time, as you could not see Medvedev coming back from two breaks down. Puts the ball into the air, goes down the line. It is slightly longer the tee mark. We're into a second serve. Will we see the same cash fault as we did in the beginning of the set? Goes cross court, backhand by Sinner, backhand by Medvedev, backhand by Sinner, backhand exchange, down the line by Sinner, forehand by Medvedev, down the line by Sinner, backhand by Medvedev, backhand down the line by Sinner, forehand by Medvedev. Oh, and he shanks it near enough. Sinner shanks it. Oh. That felt like an opportunity. He just needed to keep it on the island, and he couldn't.
Yes, I think he was more in control in that rally too, and he just
Oh, I just felt like it was too gippy. Cross court, Sinner just about to get something to that. Medvedev comes to the net. Cross court, backhand by Sinner. Oh, and into the net by Medvedev. Oh, it could have left that. I thought that was going out. I felt like he could have left that.
Yeah, he should have left that, actually. Ooh, okay. Not a good choice there.
Okay. Sinner's got a second wind here. Oh, it was going in.
Oh, wait. That was... I've never seen that before. That was
predicted bounce. I think I've seen it once.
Really? I've never seen that before. That's interesting.
Yeah, there was a bounce thing. I think it was Alcaraz against. It was one match earlier in the tournament as Medvedev hits a brilliant first serve there. So that's back to juice. There was one where I think it was Rune came to the net. I remember it was Rune against Djokovic, and it was a break point. And Rune was break point down, and he came to go do. He ran to the net as Djokovic hit one up into the air. And then he went to smash it, and he just flew it long beyond the baseline and gave Djokovic the break. But they showed a predicted bounce that if Rune had just left the ball, then he would have got the point. So as Sinner is back to advantage, brilliant bit of play there by Jannik. Third break point of this service game. Is it going to be third times the charm? Is it going to be third time lucky? Just on the tee, forehand by Sinner, backhand by Medvedev, backhand by Sinner, backhand by Medvedev, backhand by Sinner, forehand by Medvedev, long, and it's long, and it is a double break. It is the double break. His team are going mental.
He is third time lucky.
Once,
so good
twice,
for Sinner.
Three times the charm.
So good. Yeah. I really think, other than the tiebreak in the second set where he just lost his serve, I think he has been just so phenomenal this match.
He has not been broken at all this game against Daniil Medvedev, one of the great returners of this game, of the event.
Oh, I like that.
That's a nice gift.
Racket drop. The Kuroda boys. He could, I mean, it's incredible what they've. I really don't remember there being any such fan group for a tennis player like the Kuroda boys are for Sinner. I don't remember. I think. Yeah, I think Miles was talking about maybe at the US Open one year, James Blake had some sort of group. I wasn't really familiar with them, but the Kuroda boys for Sinner, it's wow.
I think I remember. I think it was the only thing I remember in recent memory of like a little group of like groupies almost was there was a Scottish group that were based in Sydney that went to Murray's first match in the Sydney ATP event that took place in 2022. Judy Murray spotted them, that they were really being quite supportive to Andy and really helpful to Andy, that she got them tickets for every single match afterwards to his run to the final.
Nice.
So they were sat always in the same position as Sinner goes 30 love up here. So he's halfway home to the final. Yeah, because the Scottish people were all wearing Scottish tops, kilts, the whole hat thing as well. 30 love, sorry. Backhand by Sinner is the forehand by Medvedev, backhand by Sinner. Oh, just about pushes him wide. Sinner down the line. What a brilliant one down the line. What a shot. Crowd is on its feet. They cannot contain themselves.
So good.
Jannik for what is potentially one of the biggest wins of his career in terms of what it could lead to. 1 point away. He's got 3 match points. 3 match points. Goes down the tee. Backhand by Medvedev. Forehand cross court by Sinner. Backhand by Medvedev up the line. And it's long. And Jannik Sinner, you could say the home hope, the local lad in northern Italy, or the regional lad in northern Italy, has beaten the world number 3, Daniil Medvedev, for the 3rd time in a row. He took him out in Beijing. He took him out again in Vienna. And he's then hit the 3rd and killer punch with that fiery backhand, as Ricky, as a post pointed up there, being a key factor in him winning the contest here. He is turning Medvedev into a bit of a pigeon for him. Okay, we're probably nowhere near that yet, but in terms of a record perspective, but 3 matches in a row. Medvedev taking his stuff off court. He's had a good year. He can reflect on picking up 6 titles, 2 of them being Masters crowns, and getting to a Grand Slam final. But he was outclassed, outplayed, and basically out everything by Sinner today, who is on absolute fire. We've got prime Sinner doing it in Turin in front of the home crowd, and what a victory. What do you make of that then, Anastasia?
Again, brilliantly played. That backhand, every time I saw it, I was like, it was just beautiful today. The backhand was backhanding. And, after his first match in Turin, I remember saying, watch out for Sinner. But you still never know. But he has been so clinical this whole tournament. 3-0, now 4-0. He's won 4 straight matches, hasn't lost. It's a sight to see. And for it to be happening in Turin, in his backyard, pretty much, it's great. It's like really good to see. Can't wait for the final. This is going to be, either way, it's going to be great. John!
We've got John here, and we'll pass over to John.
How are you doing? All right, James? I mean, did you enjoy? I maybe I'm being a bit Damien-esque curmudgeon here by just going. I don't know. Once Sinner got that break at the beginning of the third set, stemming the momentum, I sort of felt as though I know we should be very impressed with Jannik, but I do think that the sting had been taken out of the match that could have caught light if Medvedev had held serve, for example, at the beginning of the third set. And in the end, it's now 3 matches in a row that Sinner has won against Medvedev. So I think it's 6-3. And of course, it was 6 for Medvedev, and now it's 3 in a row. And as Anastasia, I think, was touching upon an hour or so ago, is Sinner's very much stemmed the tide right now. And it's basically he's going into the matches as favourite. And basically, we can just sort of ignore any of the matchup issues and just go, who's playing better right now? And in the last 5 days, it's no contest really as to who's playing better. And I think, and someone can correct me either in the live chat or amongst you two, but I think Sinner's only been broken twice at this entire tournament, which is nuts for I know ATP Tour Finals, Turin is sort of a server's court. The speed is often talked about, and that's understandable, but it's still very impressive when you're coming up against returners like Novak and Holger as well, when he's on his day, is a good returner. To have only lost your serve twice in 4 matches across, I'm going to say 3, 6, 9, 11 sets, I think, because he's won 1 in straights and the others have all been 3 sets, but he's lost a few tiebreakers in there, which is why. So, for example, against Novak, it was super close, but he didn't get broken until he was a breakup in the third. It was only then that he got broken, which is probably a sign of the pressure. If you go a whole match without getting broken and then suddenly after almost 3 hours, you break up in the third and then you get broken, it could be that it was the pressure, or it could just be a coincidence. But I know it's been said before, but his serving is along with his backhand today, as has been highlighted on Twitter, just sensational, right?
Yeah,
it is. I mean,
I took a risk
ahead,
there,
James.
by the way. I took a risk there because I just left it open, and I thought one of them's going to take the bull by the horns, and then because if I just said Anastasia or I just say James, which is what a real professional would do, by the way. But in the end, I thought I'll just take a risk, and I'm thinking, okay. And then both of you are thinking, well, is that for me? Is that for me? And then boom. But anyway, go on, James. You can go for it, and then we'll let Anastasia have a go.
No, but you're correct there. I mean, like the only 2 times, like you say, one was 3 hours into a match, which is understandable that you can't keep holding your serve for 3 hours straight without any issues taking place. And the other time is when his back started to give him a little bit of jip against Bruner in the second set. So it's no, I mean, Sinner's performance when it comes to serving, you can quite clearly see that his spot serving is what's really, really pulling him through when it comes to the first serve, because he's able to get a lot of easy points off that. But the power behind it just means that he's able to push his opponents back incredibly well. Also, his rallying ability. I mean, that was a key pickup from that match against Medvedev. That barring the start of the match, where Medvedev felt like he was in control of the long rallies plus 5 shots. By the end of it, I would fancy Sinner in every single rally that went plus 5 shots. He was able to get the mistakes out of the Medvedev bracket, which means that you can have a really strong serve, a serve plus 1 to get the 3 points at the beginning of a point, and then also if it goes slightly longer, being able to actually be control near the end. It's the perfect recipe to be able to hold your serve, 99 times out of 10.
Yeah, Anastasia, what do you think?
No, I agree. Same thing with James. He kind of said everything that I would have said. It's just quite remarkable just seeing this run of form for Sinner, for someone who I think people always questioned if he could ever be this fit, or because he's been doing this since Asia. It's been over a month, so it's a really great run of form.
And he's done it on occasion over the last couple of years, but those occasions have been against Carlos Alcaraz for one reason or another. They just bring the best out of each other. I mean, I do think Carlos tends to make matches against lots of players fascinating, whether it be Kecmanovic, Djokovic, or Sinner. So it is partly that, but But the consistency he's had, and the turnaround that he's managed to perform in his matchups against Medvedev, but also now, of course, with Novak. Because of his impressive form, we went into the match with Novak thinking this could be amazing, and it was. And we now have 3 players left in the tournament. And I think whatever final we get, we can be licking our lips with. This is nothing against Medvedev. It's just about, I just think that Medvedev has played amazingly at times this year. Probably, you pick out the semifinals, in New York, and you'd pick out, maybe in Miami winning the title there, and maybe even Rotterdam to some extent, or Dubai where he beat Novak. But it's you're not quite as sure right now about which Medvedev is necessarily going to turn up, as he described his performances in recent weeks as being 12 out of 10, 8.5 out of 10. And he didn't give a score for the Zverev match, but because he said it was significantly lower than his Carlos performance, we'll give it a 5 out of 10, if you like. So we haven't had quite such consistency from Medvedev in the second half of the season that we probably had at various points in the first. As a result, and having seen how that US Open final went against Novak, I would have been not as pumped for a Medvedev-Djokovic final as I will be, whether it be Sinner-Djokovic or Sinner-Alcaraz. I think whichever final we get tomorrow, it's something to be looking forward to. And also, as was mentioned in the chat and by you two as well, looking back on Turin finals in years gone by, the last 2 years, or last year in particular, felt like a lot of tournaments that Novak has been involved in recently. It's like, the 2 players that could have caused him trouble have gone out at some point. So it was Sinner, for example, in Paris-Bercy, with him withdrawing, which, by the way, is looking like more and more of a smart decision with every hour that passes, with him withdrawing from that tournament.
Yes. Yep.
Bearing in mind his sort of physical, because he'd also I actually didn't think he would get to the semis in Paris-Bercy because of the physical exertions he'd been having in Asia, where he was getting to final after final and winning tournaments. And I think did he win Vienna as well? So he was certainly in the final in Vienna, but I think he won it, didn't he? He beat Medvedev maybe in the final, actually. Or was it the semis? But whatever. So I just thought, that he would probably find that Paris-Bercy would be a week too many, and then that would have definitely impacted, even if he'd have got to the quarters or semis there. But I digress from the Novak thing with we're looking at New York and we're thinking, well, Alcaraz could beat him in the final. Maybe there'll be a random player in his half of the draw, but other than that, it looked pretty comfortable for him. I remember thinking the same in Paris-Bercy, as I've already touched upon, but the sort of the players that can cause him trouble were gone. But this tournament, him being in the same group as Rune and Sinner. And by the way, I was thinking about this earlier. I was going for a jog and I was thinking, this is not the best Rune in a way, in terms of where we were at a year ago or perhaps other times this year. And yet, because he's not afraid of going into the net, he's not afraid of Novak. It's actually hats off to Holger that an okay Holger is capable of pushing Novak as much as he does. So yeah, I've been ranting quite a bit. I'll let you two sort of have 1 or 2 final words, and then we'll bring this show to a close. I'll go to James first.
Well, I think you kind of summed up a fair good bit there. I think this is certainly going to be a situation we're going to see with Sinner going forward, where he's certainly going to prioritize. He's going to prioritize Turin over Paris, because I think we can now maybe assume. I know it's dangerous in tennis to assume that Turin's now going to become a regular fixture in Sinner's calendar, and it is all about as we've seen with. It's incredibly hard for somebody to do both the Paris-Turin or Paris-London double. It's the tournaments are so close together, and the high intensity of both tournaments means that it's very hard for one player to do one and not the other. Similar also for like the Roland Garros and Wimbledon double as well. It's given the complete different change in surfaces and the time between the 2 tournaments, it's very hard for a player to be able to do the double on that one as well. But no, like you said, we've got an absolute barnstormer tomorrow, whoever it plays. I kind of hope it's Alcaraz, just because I think we do want to see just one more time Alcaraz versus Sinner this season before the whole circus that is the ATP Tour shuts down. But no, credit to Sinner, absolutely deserved it today. Played the better, served the better, returned the better, did everything better than everything better, and yeah, bring on tomorrow is all it's left to say. Or first of all, though, of course, bring on tonight to see what delights we get between Djokovic and Alcaraz.
Anastasia, I do have a hunch though that the narrative that's been building in recent days about Djokovic and Sinner, in other words, Sinner, of course, if he loses his match to Rune, would knock out Djokovic. I know it was building, but I am kind of wondering if that will be the final, and that Djokovic will get his revenge, if you like, for the group loss. What are your thoughts on the match tonight?
I think it was great. I expected Sinner to win this, and I don't know why I'm so stuck on this sort of head-to-head narrative, but I really am, and I just think, Sinner now is the way he's playing. He's such a great player. He's improved so much in his game that he's just like, you know what, this is new me.
It sort of reminds me of Medvedev when he sort of arrived in 2019, in that we sort of, and I've heard Gil Gross say this, and I completely agree. We kind of have to, if Medvedev, let's just say he has a 4-4 head-to-head against X player, but 3 of those matches occurred pre-2019. It's almost like you kind of forget those. That. And it's almost like that with Jannik right now, that if he's playing Novak on most surfaces, probably outside of grass, it's like, he's got an excellent chance, even if you look at the head-to-head being in favor of Novak. Same with the Medvedev one, and I'm sure there's others that Sinner is going to be turning around pretty soon as well. What about tonight's match, though, Anastasia, between Alcaraz and Djokovic? I'm just sort of going towards Novak, I think, but...
I don't know what to, because again, you can sort of be the rational thinker and say, well, we're an indoor hard, fast court. Novak seems to have the advantage on that surface. And then you go with your heart as well. And then you're like, well, but look at Queens and look at what, Alcaraz did at Queens. So I actually think it's more 50-50. The poll that you brought up earlier, I think, is more to what it could be. And a very inspired Alcaraz might just do something crazy here. And part of me says, he loves playing tennis, and he's just like, he's seeing Sinner has won here, and he's like, buddy, I want to join you. I want to join you in that final, and I want to have a good time on court. So I think Sean Power has a get to number 1 ranking next year, and I'm like, my answer is yes. I agree with Carlos Alcaraz. I think he could get to number 1.
Problem is, though, is I still think he doesn't quite have across all surfaces.
Just to say, I've got to quickly shoot, but I will catch you.
Yeah, go on, James. Thanks very much, and then we'll be closing in a couple minutes. But big thanks, James, for your commentary today, and we'll be speaking to each other soon.
Cool. See you soon.
Cheers, James. I just think that there's probably one thing that's just holding me back, and that's, what's he going to be like? He's pretty good on a slower hard court, but I think Alcaraz on a slower hard court will get him. We're going to see Novak across pretty much all the tournaments next year, as opposed to obviously missing 1 or 2 this year. He's also going to have to do better at slams, like 5 sets and all that. So I think for him to get to number 1, he's probably going to have to win a Grand Slam, and he's probably going to have to hope that Djokovic and Alcaraz don't win too. So I think there's a few variables, and he's also got a bit of catching up to do as well. But he could. But right now, I would probably just hold off, because he could win 2 Grand Slams next year, and he's still not number 1. And I don't think he's winning 2. And I think across all the surfaces, I think right now, grass and clay even might, there's just probably going to be too many people that are going to get in his way. And I think there's too many doubts about him across 5 sets.
Yeah. No, I agree. He definitely has to still prove himself at the Grand Slam level, but I do think it is possible for him to do that. If this Sinner shows up at a Grand Slam, if this Sinner shows up in Australia, I'm definitely,
if this Sinner shows up in Australia, he's 3rd favorite, And,
Yep.
you know, it wouldn't take much more, just another 1%, if you like, for him to maybe even go on and win the title, especially if he avoids Novak for as long as possible. But yeah, a lot to look forward to. And tonight, especially, Damien and Vanch will be on commentary tonight for what's going to be obviously a spectacular encounter. And Jannik Sinner can put his feet up and enjoy a bowl of pasta and maybe even a carrot or two.
The best. A nice bolognese.
Yes, exactly. I actually, by the way, some Italians won't be very happy with this, although maybe they will be, because now that carrots is a new thing. I often throw a carrot into a bolognese myself, but
It's secret.
anyway,
It's a secret ingredient. You
on
have
that,
well, maybe it's not traditional, but you have to.
yeah. And it adds a bit of health to it. And by the way, we look at the poll right now. It couldn't be much closer, at least on Twitter. As I suggested earlier, the YouTube one is a bit more heavily in favor of Novak, but the YouTube one is basically 51-49. And the Twitter one is like that. And that's kind of how I see it. I'd probably go a bit more 55-45. But there is one other sort of asterisk, caveat, whatever the word is, regarding Novak. He's not. Now, this doesn't mean a lot, because Novak, a subpar Novak can win Grand Slams. So it doesn't mean a lot. But since the US Open, where he was obviously phenomenal, I think he might have only dropped 2 sets all the way to winning the title there. Since then, we've seen him play, I'm going to say, 5 matches in Paris, 4 of which that went to 3 sets. And we've seen him play 3 matches in Turin, and they've all gone to 3 sets as well. So what's that? That's 8 matches. I think 7 of his last 8 matches have been very close. I think of Rublev was super close. And, Rublev in a tie break, if he could have just done a bit better in that second set tie break, that changes. We saw as well early on in that tournament, Novak struggling as well. Was it Griegsborg, I think, in a match that you just wouldn't expect
in the
Novak
beginning.
to be struggling in. So it's not quite, because I think he won the final in straight sets over Dimitrov. So it's something like 6 out of his last 8 matches have been 3 setters, and against some unfancied opponents, and of course many fancied opponents in terms of level, such as Alcaraz. So I'd be surprised if it's straight sets one way or another tonight, and look forward to. Anastasia, big thanks for joining.
Yes, as always, fun times watching tennis. It's been great. Great match.
And to the rest of you, and make sure you join us in 3 hours. I'm just looking at my clock and doing a bit of maths. Make sure you join us in about 3 hours for all the build-up plus live commentary of Alcaraz Djokovic. And to all of you, you know the drill. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis. The Madrid Open final on Sunday between the top the mental side of tennis, from my perspective as a fan, if you like, the two things that strike me in tennis compared to lots of other sports that I think make it a big mental challenge is, first of all, it's an individual sport. But secondly, so there's nowhere to hide. Like in football, in a team sport, you can just give the ball to another, teammate, and you cannot call for it if you like. But there's nowhere to hide. The other thing as well in tennis is again in something like football, you can be really nervous, but you can get a bit lucky. And of course, that can be the case in tennis. But basically, your body could be shaking when you're about to take a penalty, okay? And you can still score because you can just put your foot through it, right? You just hit it as hard as you can. And actually, probably you will still score because of the odds on that.
Yeah.
But there's that in a sport such as darts, snooker, tennis, where you need to be pretty calm and you need to have a pretty steady hand. There's just nowhere to hide. Is there anything I'm missing, or am I underplaying something, or even overplaying?
No. I think you're 100% correct. I think the real tough thing about these sports and tennis in particular, because of how physical it is as well, is the relentlessness of point after point. And if you're nervous, you have to fight through those nerves sometimes for, an hour. and they might disappear for a while, but then suddenly, you're 5-all and it's tight again, and you're feeling very tight, and you have to manage it over and over again. And I think, the best players in the world just, use their tools and remember to use their tools in big moments. Because, once you get to pro level, it's not like any player doesn't kind of know what they have to do, but it's in the heat of that moment that they either don't remember because the brain is frying a little bit, or they don't have the courage to use them. Yeah. So, for us sitting there, I remember when Roger Federer had 2 match points against Novak at Wimbledon serving.
Yeah.
You're thinking serve and volley both.
Okay.
Yeah, probably Novak's not going to make a great return on both.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know whether what Roger was thinking, or maybe knew something more than I did, but that was my thinking. But he didn't, and they slipped through his hands. Now, to do that though in that moment takes a huge amount of courage.
Yeah, and
first to make the decision, and then secondly to follow through the decision like that. But then you've always got, and this is what's so tough for players. The other thing is, match point, make the person play. Don't serve and give them a quick volley or whatever. And that's another school of thought. But I think deep down, players get to a place where they have an instinct. And I think, I say this over and over again, the best players in the world are the most relaxed and the bravest. Because in those moments, when their instinct is telling them something, they are brave enough to follow it. And which is why, and again, it doesn't guarantee you're going to win, but I do think it starts to push the odds more in your favor. I'll just say one other thing is,
yeah,
I don't know if anybody's ever been go-karting or any kind of motor racing or watches motor racing,
mm-hmm.
but when a driver gets in the groove, they lap like within 0.1 of a second every lap, like in this unbelievable groove.
Mm-hmm.
But if they lose that groove, when they're in that groove, it seems so easy. Just do it. It's like no hassle. But if they lose that groove, if they go a little too fast, then they slide out of a corner, they lose time. If they go a little too slow, then that's not effective. And the margins are so small to stay on that groove. And for players as well, when you go into something like the French Open or any tournament, but especially the big ones, you hope that you can get through that first match and find a groove. And if you get in that groove, then that gives you your best chances of winning, because then most stuff is happening automatically, which is the most effective. Everybody has a problem when they start to think on the court, and automatic is fastest and easiest, because you know how to do things. And it's not like you don't register. I say when you're playing very well, you are aware of everything, but nothing distracts you. When you start to think, your thoughts start to distract you. And that's very difficult to manage. And if you can learn how to manage that and get yourself back in the groove a little faster than other players, that's obviously, helps with ranking and why certain players, are more consistent than others, because they tend to manage that better. I hope that makes sense anyway.
It does. It definitely does. With the mental side of tennis, from my perspective as a fan, if you like, the two things that strike me in tennis compared to lots of other sports that I think make it a big mental challenge is, first of all, it's an individual sport. But secondly, so there's nowhere to hide. Like in football, in a team sport, you can just give the ball to another, teammate, and you cannot call for it if you like. But there's nowhere to hide. The other thing as well in tennis is again in something like football, you can be really nervous, but you can get a bit lucky. And of course, that can be the case in tennis. But basically, your body could be shaking when you're about to take a penalty. Okay, and you can still score because you can just put your foot through it, right? You just hit it as hard as you can. And actually, probably you will still score because of the odds on that.
Yeah.
But there's that in a sport such as darts, snooker, tennis, where you need to be pretty calm and you need to have a pretty steady hand. There's just nowhere to hide. Is there anything I'm missing, or am I underplaying something, or even overplaying?
No. I think you're 100% correct. I think the real tough thing about these sports and tennis in particular, because of how physical it is as well, is the relentlessness of point after point. And if you're nervous, you have to fight through those nerves sometimes for, an hour. and they might disappear for a while, but then suddenly, you're 5-all and it's tight again, and you're feeling very tight, and you have to manage it over and over again. And I think, the best players in the world just, use their tools and remember to use their tools in big moments. Because, once you get to pro level, it's not like any player doesn't kind of know what they have to do. But it's in the heat of that moment that they either don't remember because the brain is frying a little bit, or they don't have the courage to use them.
Yeah.
So, for us sitting there, I remember when Roger Federer had 2 match points against Novak at Wimbledon serving.
Yeah.
You're thinking serve and volley both.
Okay.
Yeah, probably Novak's not going to make a great return on both.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know whether what Roger was thinking, or maybe knew something more than I did, but that was my thinking. But he didn't, and they slipped through his hands. Now, to do that though in that moment takes a huge amount of courage.
Yeah, and
first to make the decision, and then secondly to follow through the decision like that. But then you've always got, and this is what's so tough for players. The other thing is, match point, make the person play. Don't serve and give them a quick volley or whatever. And that's another school of thought. But I think deep down, players get to a place where they have an instinct. And I think, I say this over and over again, the best players in the world are the most relaxed and the bravest. Because in those moments, when their instinct is telling them something, they are brave enough to follow it, and which is why. And again, it doesn't guarantee you're going to win, but I do think it starts to push the odds more in your favor. I'll just say one other thing is,
yeah,
I don't know if anybody's ever been go-karting or any kind of motor racing or watches motor racing, but when a driver gets in the groove, they lap like within 0.1 of a second of every lap, like in this unbelievable groove. But if they lose that groove, when they're in that groove, it seems so easy. Just do it, right? No hassle. But if they lose that groove, if they go a little too fast, then they slide out of a corner, they lose time. If they go a little too slow, then that's not effective. And the margins are so small to stay on that groove. And for players as well, when you go into something like the French Open or any tournament, but especially the big ones, you hope that you can get through that first match and find a groove. And if you get in that groove, then that gives you your best chances of winning, because then most stuff is happening automatically, which is the most effective. Everybody has a problem when they start to think on the court, and automatic is fastest and easiest because you know how to do things. And it's not like you don't register. I say when you're playing very well, you are aware of everything, but nothing distracts you. When you start to think, your thoughts start to distract you. And that's very difficult to manage. And if you can learn how to manage that and get yourself back in the groove a little faster than other players, that's obviously, helps with ranking and why certain players, are more consistent than others, because they tend to manage that better. I hope that makes sense anyway.
It does. It definitely does. With the mental side of tennis, from my perspective as a fan, if you like, the two things that strike me in tennis compared to lots of other sports that I think make it a big mental challenge is, first of all, it's an individual sport. But secondly, so there's nowhere to hide. Like in football, in a team sport, you can just give the ball to another, teammate, and you cannot call for it if you like. But there's nowhere to hide. The other thing as well in tennis is again in something like football, you can be really nervous, but you can get a bit lucky, and of course that can be the case in tennis. But basically, your body could be shaking when you're about to take a penalty, okay, and you can still score because you can just put your foot through it, right? You just hit it as hard as you can. And actually, probably you will still score because of the odds on that.
Yeah.
But there's that in a sport such as darts, snooker, tennis, where you need to be pretty calm and you need to have a pretty steady hand. There's just nowhere to hide. Is there anything I? Hey, thanks for taking the time to, well, you haven't got any choice, actually. I'm just talking at you, if you like. But I'm here also to present to you why I think it's not a bad idea and not that expensive as well if you become a member. And this is how you can do it, and this is what you can gain. So if we look here at the Talking Tennis sort of home page, if you like, on YouTube, we can see this little button here which says join. It is also pinned in the live chat as well, and you can also, I think, see it just below most of our videos, certainly the live ones and so on. Now, why is it a good idea to join and become a member? Well, in the live chat you can add little funny things, you can add emojis and all sorts of things, but possibly more importantly, you can get to access some live videos, such as this one here, where we look back on the last sort of few moments from the Billie Jean King Cup. So there are little bonuses such as this one, but there are many, many more. And in fact, if we have a quick look at all of the members only stuff, I repeat, you will see very, very quickly some of the top stuff that we've had for members only over the last 12 months since the channel began. Remember, these videos are for members only. You can become a member from as little as about $2 a month, €2 a month, £2 a month, something like that. There are various different things. Oh, and by the way, you'll also be supporting the channel. So it's a win-win-win-win scenario. Let me just show you some of the members only stuff. For example, we've got an exclusive little clip there talking to Laura Siegmund, Laura Tsurenko, her encore interview, some doubles footage there from Monastir, the Germany press conference pre-tournament Billie Jean King Cup, Claire Burrell talking as well to the media in her press conference in Monastir, Storm Hunter and Alicia Parks interview, Rebecca Masarova, her press conference, Coco Gauff exclusive for members only, albeit it was in Madrid, but these are just some of the things, some of the interviews and etc. Like Lestien here, a chat with him, Emma Navarro, and so on and so forth. So many little bonus videos available for just €2 a month. So what are you waiting for? Become a member. Or don't. It's okay.
Ready? Play.
Emma Raducanu has given an interview with the BBC where she's outlined her plans to return from injury, when that will be. She's also explained what she's been up to whilst away, and she's been watching much tennis. She's also got an answer for the critics, of which, some are on social media, but also, of course, many within the media. And she's also explained which is the slam that she would most like to win. What is her ultimate dream in tennis? So as I say, the interview was given to BBC London earlier on today, where she outlined her plans to return to next season, and also how she would one day love to win Wimbledon. So she will make her return to tennis next season after struggling with injuries mainly since May. She obviously had injuries since then, but she hasn't played since May. She withdrew from the Madrid Open, I think on the eve of the tournament, to basically have some operations. She's missed 3 of the 4 Grand Slams. She did play in Australia, where she lost to Coco Gauff. And of course, just a couple of days ago, she dropped out of the world's top 200 and did confirm in this interview with BBC London that she will not be returning to the tour until next year. Britain didn't make the Billie Jean King Cup finals, which will take place in Seville in the south of Spain in November. Also, she has no hope of making the WTA finals, also in November. So she confirmed that next season will be her return to tennis. 20-year-old also said that the slams are obviously finished now, but it has been difficult to watch them go by. She was just said, "I want to stay in my lane as much as possible and keep focused on my recovery," were her exact words. The 20-year-old has been hampered, though, by injuries since winning that US Open title in 2021, when remarkably she managed to qualify and go all the way to the title without dropping a set in New York. She also made British #1 at one point as a result, but has not gone beyond the second round of any Grand Slam since that mesmeric, incredible run 2 years ago, when she became the first British woman in 44 years to win a major singles title since Virginia Wade. She was also asked about how she deals with criticism, and Raducanu had this to say: "The fact they are still talking about me, even though I'm not at these events, is just a compliment. Someone told me once, for example, 'Worry when they're not talking about you,'" she added. Raducanu has, of course, returned to the practice court. We did see some glimpses of her playing some short tennis in August, for example, the first time since she underwent surgery earlier on this year. And in fact, she only did play 10 matches in the first 5 months of the year. She said she does hope to return to better form and fulfill her Wimbledon dreams. "Wimbledon is the dream," she said, "and always has been growing up." Of course, she's from the UK, so it makes sense. She said, "It's the ultimate dream to win Wimbledon." Back in May, she seemed to undergo 3 successful surgeries. She said that she underwent the surgeries on both of her wrists and her ankle in a letter posted on social media. In fact, she said at the time, "It's safe to say the last 10 months, so that would have been the summer of 2022 until these surgeries in May of this year, have been difficult as I dealt with a recurring injury on a bone of both hands," she said at the time. She said she tried to manage the pain and play through it for most of the year, but in the end, it was just getting too much. She was missing so much of training as well as certain tournaments anyway, that for her it made sense to go ahead with these procedures. Well, now she has confirmed that she'll be back. I would imagine, therefore, for the Australian swing, maybe United Cup, end of December, beginning of January, perhaps, for the 250 in New Zealand or elsewhere. And then, of course, the Australian Open. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.
Ready? Play.